Honk.
Indeed, the honk has brought us. What is going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome to Tuesday. It is December 31st, 2024, the final day of 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everyone is having a lovely one. I am very excited because not only is this the final stream of the year, not only is this our 2024 Game of the Year show, but I have actually been Mr. Techie today. I not only got a new Discord bot up and working so that we now finally have an announcement bot again, so I don't have to remember to do that when I go live. Yay, huzzah. Not only is that the case, but also I managed today to install a full set of permanent outside lights on my porch, which means they are LifeFix lights like I have in my office, which means I will be able to year-round be able to change everything. I'll be able to do everything. I'll be able to make it Halloween. When the Steelers are playing in the Super Bowl, I'll be able to make Pittsburgh colors. When the Huskies are playing in the championship game, I will be able to put blue and white. When it is July 4th, I'll be able to put up red, white, and blue in hope for a country that may eventually live up to its own ideals. It'll be like that. So I'm very excited. I felt very home improvement-y today. I was able to do it along with Mrs. Arv helped some last night. And then today it was all little Arv who was helping me, and that was great. So we got it up. It was great. I'm excited. I'm super happy and so pleased about the whole business. Very happy about that. And welcome everybody to our Game of the Year show. Very excited for today, where we go through and rank all the games we played on the stream and off, and then I'll talk a little bit about 2024 that was and what we can look forward to in 2025. Thank you, Imaginary, and it's good to see all of you again. Happy New Year. Before I get started, one last time on this channel for this year, if you have not already done so, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube, but if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to us over there. If you're watching me over on YouTube, thank you. And if not, please consider jumping on and subscribing. It is free for you to do that. We are almost to 1,100 subscribers. It would be cool to get to that milestone at some point today. If we could do it by the end of the year, it'd be great. But we've made very, very big progress on the channel, the YouTube channel. This is the year that we started streaming formally on YouTube at the same time that we were streaming on Twitch and a whole bunch of other stuff. So the YouTube channel has definitely shown a lot of growth, and I'm very happy for that. So welcome, everybody. We even have a few people over there who routinely hang out on the YouTube channel during streams as opposed to Twitch. And I love it when people hang out on both, frankly, or feel capable of doing so. But either way, you can subscribe over there. It's free to do that, but definitely helps us out. And thank you for those of you who have already. Our Discord, speaking of Discord, !ArvCord to hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. We have a new bot. I want to thank GTX, who is one of the mods over on Darkside Rob's channel, who inspired me to do this. We now have a notification bot again. Our notification bot has been broken for months, and I finally had the time to do a little bit of research, and I set up a bot called SXBot, which right now is just very simple. I may use it for more things over time, depending on how ambitious I get and how much time I have. Haha. But I was able to get it for notifications, so that means that whenever we go live on this channel, it will automatically send a notification to the #ArvLive channel, and I would recommend that everybody go and follow that if you're on my Discord. I did make one mistake, which is I messed up the message, so it didn't do the @ArvLive thing, so I had to do an extra like, hey, we almost got the bot fixed, but I have now fixed that problem. So yeah, I'm very excited that we actually have a notification bot again, and you will be able to know when things are live if you're just sitting there on Discord, so that's cool. Very pleased about that. So that's the deal with Discord. So please join us over there. Twitter, !ArvTweets. I imagine I will be leaving that behind entirely in 2025. So I would encourage you to follow me there, but also follow me on Blue Sky, !ArvSky, because the minute we get enough followers there, I'm almost to 700 followers now, actually. So we're closing in on the point where I will feel like the engagement is much better on Blue Sky, honestly, because the people that are following are not a bunch of randoms that have deserted. I don't feel like I'm walking through a deserted mall the way I do with Twitter these days, with a bunch of KKK and Nazi posters fluttering off the sign where the directory used to be for them all. Over at Blue Sky, it's a lot better, more active, and actual has moderation, which is, who would have thought that was a thing. So please join me over on Blue Sky and Twitter for the moment, although, like I say, next year I will be probably switching off of that completely. So again, exclamation point Arv tweets for Twitter, exclamation point Blue Sky, exclamation point Arv Sky for Blue Sky, and please also check out my TikTok, exclamation point Arv Talk as well. I'll talk about this when I get to next year, but I have some social media plans that I am excited for, and I'll talk more about those in short order. Then finally, of course, the website for all this, arvineleron.com. Hearthglow, we're going to be doing our new long-form recording of Hearthglow is going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks, and then we have, after that, one more long recording in February before our finale in March. I'm going to have some information about March and about the finale and stuff like that. Is going to be pretty awesome for Hearthglow, but definitely check it out. I've really been enjoying doing that limited run recorded podcast, and it's going to be coming to an end fairly soon, so please join us over there for that. Twitter, Discord, blah, blah, blah. Carry the one. Yes. On the financial front, exclamation point Arv Shop, that's the merchandise area. You can get stuff related to the channel for our various campaigns. I am hoping that soon we're going to be able to get some more art for Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks. We had some, and then two of our players ended up having to leave for real life reasons. And so that meant that we basically don't use their art now. So now I'm going to have to get art for the two new characters. So I'm going to be thinking about that and about how to put that all together in the new year. But in any case, we already have stuff up there for the old Adventures of Middle-earth and Middle-earth role-playing stuff. We have stuff for Arvin Eleron in general, and we have stuff up there for Infinity and Beyond. But I'd like to add some Expedition and maybe get some Beowulf stuff up there as well for that campaign, and even some Buy the Dice Roll stuff too. So I'm going to try to get some more merch basically up there in the new year. But in the meantime, you do have some cool stuff that you can check out there. So please do get some of that. Cool swag for you and cool stuff to support the channel. Of course, supporting the Patreon, exclamation point Arvtreon. Would love to see that get into triple digits because we're really trying to move that up again in a positive direction. We can get cool stuff for you and cool stuff for the channel. Also, subscribing to the channel does the same thing. Also supports the channel, but also you can get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. Both Patreon and subbing lets you get inspirations to help our tabletop players. And the Patreons and the subs were designed to give you different things. So if you support both, you get twice as much material, basically. So please consider supporting us whichever way you can, and I'm grateful for anyone who's able to do that. Of course, on the publishing front, exclamation point to Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts, exclamation point Library, my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and exclamation point Greyshade, which is, of course, my Greyshade IP, Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic, my group from the, that is my Grey Assassin trilogy, which is available right now at that link. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks at that link, and you can also pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade coming out from Brandon O'Brien as the lead designer and Alligator Alley is the publisher, and that's going to be coming out next year. So that's now going into edits, so I'm very excited about that. It's part of a very busy 2025 publishing-wise for me, I think, and I'm excited about that, so more details about that to come. And as always, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we will do so for others in the future. Just one note about schedule. I will be doing more schedule work probably tomorrow, tonight possibly, but also tomorrow for next month. But I can tell you that on Thursday, this coming Thursday, we will be playing more Beyond Shadowgate, and we will be having our first interview of the year. What better time to do it than January 2nd? We start them out early with Christian Mosley, who is the lead writer and a producer and one of the developers on Beyond Shadowgate, which is a game that I love. I'm going to be talking about that in my rankings today, the sequel to the classic 1980s Shadowgate. And I'm going to be speaking with him, so I'm going to be interviewing him. We're going to be talking a little bit about different aspects of the game, and then you will have a chance to ask him some questions yourself, live and in person, so to speak, at least virtually in person, on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be happening, and then after that, I will figure out the rest of the schedule coming up. I'm not thinking about that now. I'm going to do that somewhat tonight and then obviously more tomorrow so that we will be all set to go for what will be a very busy 2024 to come. All right, now just one sec here. All righty, so let me turn off that and turn on this. There we go. Oh, wait, hold on. I know I'm muted. I'm talking to my son. Okay, sorry about that. Hi, Takanjia. So welcome, everybody. It's good to see you all. Hi, I know I was muted. I was talking. My son was like, Dad, can you look at my marble race? And I was like, I can look at my marble race. I can look at your marble race in between my streams. So it's going to be good times. Yes, 2 games of Eberron, 2 of Mysterious Peaks. It looks like our finale is going to be able to hit, and I'll be able to make a formal announcement about this fairly soon. It looks like our finale is going to be able to hit this year for Eberron, and I've got some special plans for that, and I'll tell you more about that when I can. Also, Expeditions. So yes, I'm very excited about that. And again, I will talk about this during the sort of highlights of 2024, but I do want to mention again how grateful I am that Triffity Mats has been my assistant because has been just hugely helpful in both scheduling, which has been a huge nightmare headache that I haven't had to deal with nearly as much, and also the benefits of the podcast editing that Triffid's done. So again, Triffid, thank you. I hope it has been, I mean, I do pay Triffid, to be clear. I wish I could pay her even more. I do pay her, but having said all of that, and I mentioned that only because it's important to pay people to do things for you, when they're doing it regularly and they're doing actual work. That said, Triffid is priceless in terms of what the work that she's done. So Triffid, I hope it has been not horrific for you to do it. I hope it's been okay, and it's been a pleasure as always to continue to work with you. So thank you so much, and I'll say more about that as we get there. I'll have more to say about the mods too, but I'll talk about that. But today, chat, we are starting with our 2024 Game of the Year show. We do this every year. I've been doing this at least for 7 years, I think. When I started, it was more informal, and I just did like the top 5 games, and then it became more dramatic, and then there was all this stuff involved with it. And now we are up to this elaborate, experience where I rank all the games. So I thought you'd be interested to know what the stats were like on previous versions of this. So I started this back in 2017 with the new games I played in 2017, but I didn't really start ranking them until 2018, actually. So in case you're curious, my game of the year in 2018 was The Bard's Tale 4, narrowly beating out Battletech. Ooh, that's pretty cool. So if anyone wants to give the Grey Assassin Trilogy or try some of Emily's writing or get a Kukuri pin, etc., all orders from the Athos Arts website come with a Good Luck 2025 original drawing from me only through today. Just a little fun thing with love for me, because who doesn't need a little luck? I mean, listen, that's quality right there, folks. If you get an opportunity to get that, let me tell you, that's definitely quality. A Good Luck 2025 original drawing from Emily. You would definitely want that. Yeah, please do that. That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. So Game of the Year in 2018 was The Bard's Tale 4. And I listed all the games, but I don't think I mentioned, let me see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. So I played 30 games is when I started to count them in 2018. I played 30 games in 2018. And as I said, my game of the year was Bard's Tale 4. 2019, I played 20 games, and my game of the year was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. In 2020, I played 21 games, and I doesn't mean I finished all these games, by the way, but I played all of them. And in shocking absolutely no one, my game of the year that year was Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was in 2020. 2021, I played 25 games, and my game of the year that year, just beating out Inkle's Sorcery, The Seven Serpents, was Metroid Dread. Boy, is that a great game. So that was 2021. 2022, I played 24 games, and my game of the year that year was Triangle Strategy, just beating out Gran Turismo Turismo 7. I know Emily was a big fan of Triangle Strategy. 2023, I played 30 games in 2023, and my top game of the year that year was Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So what did I say? 2019 was Fallen Order. Yeah, and then 2023 was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which brings us to 2024. So in this year of our Lord, etc., so I played 30 games last year. I played a few less this year, but still. This year, I played a total of 27 games. 3 of those were off stream, so I'll talk about them in the rankings, but 3 of them were played off stream, and 6 of them were new this year. They were released this year. So of that 27, 21 of them were games that were released in previous years. Now there's one that I sort of pushed a little bit for reasons I'll explain, but we'll see about that. So we're going to go through them. I encourage you to chat about these decisions. If you played these games, if you like them better, if you don't like them as much, if you had your own games of the year, this is what this is for. So let's have some fun as we go through and talk about these, beginning with game number 27, the 27th game that I played this year, my true love game to me, Kinseed. Now, Kinseed, honestly, some of these games that are at sort of the low end of these, there have been times where I've played games that I was just like, yeah, this game sucks. This was not a situation where I felt the game sucked. It's just not my bag. It's basically kind of a Stardew Valley-ish game, and I find Stardew Valley, I'm like the only person on earth probably who feels this way, but I find Stardew Valley to be very stressful because it's a game that it's like, well, you could just like farm, and you're like, yes, until you fall unconscious for lack of energy, and then you miss out on like 7 events you should have done, and then you don't get married to the farmer because of ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. I just, Stardew Valley is like, So that is the worst game of the year. It's true, but see, I feel bad though because I don't think Kinseed's a bad game. It's just not my bag. But if you like Stardew Valley, then I can certainly recommend Kinseed, which basically I actually barely remembered I played this. I had to go back and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I played that and was glad when it was over. So let's see, what is Elf GOTY? First of all, I love that because it's Elf GOTY as the acronym, but what does that stand for? Let's see. All eligible. Oh, Arvid Elrod's least favorite. Yes, that's perfect. And I get to say Elf GOTY. That's that's great stuff. Thank you, Emily. So 27 Kinseed. Again, not a bad game. Hey, what's up, Pilness? How are you? Happy New Year. Not a bad game, just not the thing that I was sort of looking for. So that was number 27 on my game of the year list. All right. Now 26 is another game that falls into the category of it's not bad. Oh wait, do I not have the link to this? Oh no. All right, wait a second. I'm going to have to improvise. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to improvise. Nobody panic. I'm a professional. There's one of these that I didn't have the banner for, but I'll get it. This is one that Triffid will probably be vaguely sad for, but I again want to emphasize for Triffid that this is not in any way a negative about the game. It's just, like I said, honestly, this was just like a game that it was like, oh, that was cool, but like that's all there is to it. Like there was nothing bad about this game. It was just very short and didn't occupy a whole lot of attention. And that game is, I think I got it right now. Sorry, I had to improvise this quickly. Hey, what's up, Thorn? Chill game that makes you desperate, exactly. Hey, what's up, Fabio? Paddock, Douglas Adams. Okay, here we go. Typer Shark Deluxe. Typer Shark Deluxe was the game. Now, again, I want to emphasize, there's nothing wrong with Typer Shark Deluxe. I actually had fun with this. It was just that of the games that I played, I was just kind of like, oh yeah. It just wasn't a very long game, and so I played it, and I'm like, cool. That was cool. But like ranking it against the other games that I played, it just doesn't sort of stand in the overall category of things. But it's nothing against Typer Shark. I actually did have a good time with it. I just, there were some limits to how far that would go. But yes, it did. You're afraid your game was going to be least favorite game of the year? No. Actually, yours is higher up than that, Prince Justin. At least one of yours. So, but anyway, so Typer Shark Deluxe, fun game, but just, pretty short. And so I kind of went in a different direction from that. Okay. Now, the next one on the list here ranks one of a certain class of games, a number of which I played this year. And again, nothing wrong with this. It's just that, as I've said many, many times, I have a sort of limited shelf life, I guess, or the games have a limited shelf life with me in terms of the way these things work. So 25 is Unusual Findings. A lot of cool aspects of this game. I don't want to undersell them. If you liked 80s type of games, or 80s culture, I should say. So you're thinking about, Goonies, or if you like Stranger Things, which is obviously traffics and 80s nostalgia, or things like that. For what? For Unusual Findings or Typer Shark? I played, right. No, I would never do that. My ranking for that would be number 1, the Arvanauts. And there is no number 2, just number 1, the Arvanauts. Unusual Findings. No, I played about 3 hours, I want to say, on this illness. I like this, but again, my issue with this is less about this and more about the fact that games above it were just games I liked more. And again, none of the games this year were games that I really actively disliked. And in fact, some of the games I think were interesting because they may not seem like games you would have thought would have risen to the level of ranking as high as they did, but it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I love these speculations, by the way. Keep the speculations coming. They're fun. But I do recommend Unusual Findings. If you like point and click games, if you like, and especially if you like E.T., War Games, Goonies, any of the weird sort of 80s type of stuff, 80s movies and things like that, then you will absolutely love this. And I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. It's just I don't love point and click stuff unless it's very specific. But having said that, I did still like Unusual Findings, just not as highly ranked as some of the others up there. Okay. Now, next game on the docket is another point and click game that we did this year, and that was, there we go. Whoa, that's way oversized. Hang on a second. There we go. That was this game. Number 24 is Kathy Rain Director's Cut. I did like how clever this was, and I thought about ranking it maybe a spot or 2 higher. But the other games on the list, again, are just games that I liked a little bit more, but it's nothing against Kathy Rain. Again, this is another game that is in, if you like any of the Wadjet Eye games, the Samaritan Paradox, there's a bunch of other ones that are like that style. But still, Hilness, I know there's been a lot going on. I hope you're doing okay, by the way, man. It's good to see you here. So Kathy Rain had a lot of fun humor and stuff like that. It does have more of that, a little bit more of that obscure adventure game logic that makes me grit my teeth. That was part of this, but in general, I did like Kathy Rain. Again, I repeat once again, for like the 4th time, I liked all of these games. It's just that this one was not quite as high up on the list for me as those. Okay. The next one up on the list, whoops, that doesn't help you at all, does it? There we go. The next one up on the list was interesting because this was actually paired originally with Typer Shark Deluxe. I was on the road and I was looking for a couple of sort of quick and low weight games in terms of streaming style. Sherbert, why exactly did you decide to get up on my very unstable video cartridge shelf? He's not answering me. He's just looking the other way as if I'm not talking to him. Classic. Okay. And that is Ephemerid, a musical adventure. This is a game that is going to start a little bit of a tradition, or start a little bit of a pattern of games that did not overstay their welcome and that performed very well. In previous years, I've really liked games like that. Untitled Goose Game was highly ranked for me because I think it's just a exquisitely crafted piece of crystal. It's beautiful and like really well held together. I did think that Ephemerid, yeah, exactly, because it's up and unstable. Yes, you all make good points. That's true. That is the true answer. The thing about Ephemerid is I liked it, but there were a couple of frustrations about it in terms of the controls that didn't quite elevated above this. Otherwise, I might well have been inclined to put this in the top 20. But there were some aspects of the controls that I didn't like as much. But I do recommend Ephemerid. It is very odd and fun and sort of dreamy if you can get over a little bit of the unstable quality of controls. So that's the deal. How old some of the stuff is in the pantry. Oh, my God. My father-in-law, who visited over the in-between period between Christmas and New Year's, used to keep stuff like soup cans that my wife would refer to as her siblings because he had them for so long. It was crazy. Right. So anyway, Ephemerid, very cool game, and it's cheap. I think you can get it on Steam for a few bucks. I don't even know if it's available on GOG. It might be. If you can get things on GOG, please go there first. But then after that, obviously Steam is fine. But it was a game that I liked and would like more if the controls weren't bad. And that's a theme, folks, because this next game, oh my goodness. Number 22 is Jusant. I don't know that I remember a game that has had such great potential, so completely, utterly undercut and destroyed by its own inability to have a good control scheme. The control scheme on Jusant flat out sucks. It is terrible, and it's terrible on keyboard, and it's $2.99 on Steam. Okay, that's amazing. Is that an old school? A lot of these are old school. Yeah, a lot of these are, yes, to Fabio, yes, a lot of these are older games. There were only 6 brand new games from this year. But, depending, this game I think was 2023. Jusant sucked. Oh, God, Prince Justin, that's terrible. But yes, Jusant sucked for controls. And it's so frustrating because the world building is fun. The character development is interesting. There's all of this cool stuff that I think they could have. And in fact, a later game that I'm going to talk about, which I know Emily liked because Emily was here when we did this and Triff had liked this too. I know that this game that I'm going to talk about that's very highly ranked for me did exactly the sort of thing. It was much less ambitious than Jusant, but it had functional controls. Like, I don't understand why in 2024, I mean, okay, this came out in 2023, but still, in the 2020s and up, it should not be difficult to get 2 things correct: controls and camera. Okay, this is not 1999 Tomb Raider anymore. For the love of God, like, just get us a freaking, so Jusant is a game that I wanted to like more than I did. But the reason it's not higher is the control. I couldn't even finish it because the controls were so frustrating. So next time, devs, please, I'm begging you, you had some potential here, but you just couldn't get there because the controls are terrible. It's a game incidentally, about climbing up this mountain. The whole thing is about climbing, and it's really, really cool if you could control it. It just, so frustrating that it was not able to do that. So 22, Jusant. Now, the next one is another point-and-click game, but this is an example of a game that was so weird and yet stayed with me after I played it that I decided I had to actually do something with it and rank it higher, and that's the game Californium. This is a game from that's based on the work of Philip K. Dick, and it shows because it's weird. But it's very interesting. There is this whole sort of alternate universe time travel. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Thorn. But I tried it with controller as well, and it was just as frustrating with controller. In the end, I was just I can't, it was frustrating either way. It was just so irritating. Oh, you mean the R from Ephemerid? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. No, I don't know. Anyway, Californium, very, very cool game. Sort of a point-and-click game in which you wake up and it's sort of point-and-click, except what you're trying to do are find these rifts in space and time. And when you find enough of the rifts in space and time, you can move forward to another alternate dimension. It's so weird that I was like, what am I even playing? But it stayed with me a long time after I played it, which is usually a good sign. And I did manage to finish it, and there was a little bit of pixel hunting, but for the most part, it didn't fall into that weirdo sort of adventure game logic that a lot of them fall into. And also, this is really almost more I shouldn't even say it's point and click. It's really more find a thing. You know, you've seen those games where you like find a little item and they have these little like they're on mobile of quite a bit, and it's a little bit of that also. Yeah, you know what I mean, Prince Justin. It sort of stays with you, which I guess is like Philip K. Dick does that also. So, but I liked Californium. I can't put it higher because it's not a game that I would like love to play over and over again. But I did like it. I enjoyed that considerably more than I thought I would, and so yeah, that was cool. So Californium is 21, just outside the top 20. Now we move into the top 20 games, and we get our first off-stream game. So this is the first game that I'm ranking here that I played off-stream. I had 3 of them, which I played off-stream. And give me just a second while I get that one. Because that's a window capture. There we go. It is my first Professor Layton game. It is Professor Layton and the Curious Village. I actually liked this game quite a bit. I have so far. There are some obscure puzzles and things like that have been so mind-bending. I've been able to get through them without like going online to find the solution, because they have a hint coin system as well and stuff like that. But I actually really enjoy it, and there's a new Android port of this, relatively new, that I was able to play on this. If you like puzzles, this game is just puzzles, like straight up. It's like tons of puzzles, and there's an interesting kind of like Sherlock Holmes-y sort of story that's built into it. It's cute, it's charming. I also don't think it's quite as cute and charming as it pretends to be all the time, and that's not a negative. There are times where parts of this are like, oh, that's actually kind of dark, like things that you wouldn't have expected, especially later in the series. But Professor Layton and the Curious Village, I think, is available. I don't know that it's available on GOG. I think it's available on Steam. I know it's available on Android. I think it's available as well on like Apple, on the Apple Store. But this is a fun game. I've just been playing this on my own. It's a very good, it fits perfectly with a touchscreen type of environment. I think originally it might have come out for the 3DS maybe. So it works perfectly for touch phones, touchscreen phones and stuff like that, or tablets. So I would definitely recommend this game if you like that sort of thing. It's also the kind of game that you can play, 20, 25 minutes, half hour, and then put it down again. You don't have to feel like you're getting sucked in all the time. So I have liked this so far. So number 20, off-stream game, Professor Layton and the Curious Village. All right. So that leads us to number 19. And number 19 here is where we get to, let me bring this up. Number 19 is where we get to one of Prince Justin's recommended games, which was not my least favorite game of the year. In fact, it was well above that, as you can see, Prince Justin, and that is Age of Wonders 4. Now, I have to say about this that Age of Wonders 4 is another example of a game that I think is an excellent, excellent game that I just don't like as much because I don't love 4X games. Something about them just doesn't click with my brain the way that I want them to. I love Heroes of Might and Magic. I love Songs of Conquest. I love games like that, but the Age of Wonders 4X style, and that includes things like Warlock, it includes things like Civ, the later Civ games, just didn't click. Oh, it is not released on Windows. Okay, that's interesting, Thorne. I didn't know that. Age of Wonders 4 I enjoyed, but it was not a game. I knew as I was playing it, I'm like, yeah, probably not going to come back to this one. But I'm glad that I played it, and it's a type of game that, again, I want to emphasize, this is a game that is just not really my taste per se, but is very good for its own style. 4X is it's a reference to a kind of strategy game that is usually hex-based, Emily. So there's like different hexes on a map. It usually is sort of like macro strategy where you're building a city and then you're like sending troops out and scouts to find other cities. You're encountering other creatures like this. So it's got a Heroes of Might and Magic, a little bit of a feel, except the 4X style is even more macro, I think, than Heroes. And Heroes emphasizes more 4X emphasizes more resource gathering, like finding the right places to put a city, whereas Heroes is more the cities are already established. For the most part, you can't build new cities. Heroes is a game where you go out and you collect stuff, like you explore and find treasure and collect it and then like build up cities, and that's more my jam. Sure, absolutely, yeah. But again, a lot of people love 4X games, and I'm not down on 4X games at all. I think that they're cool games. They're just not necessarily my vibe. But I liked Age of Wonders 4 I liked Age of Wonders 4 for what it was. It's just not my jam, but you will definitely like Age of Wonders. If you like 4X games at all, this is definitely up your alley. So highly recommend that. That is game number 19. Okay. That brings us to game number 18. And in game number 18, we move to a game that was only recently chosen for the Chat Chosen Game of the Year. In fact, I think it was chosen last month in 19. What's up, Tom? Good to see you. Happy New Year, everybody who's come in. That is Jagged Alliance 3. Jagged Alliance 3, which I actually liked a lot. And this is... No, exactly, Prince Justin. Totally. That's why... exactly, which is why I said I was like... I totally get it. I thought it was good for what it was for sure. Jagged Alliance 3. I actually like this game quite a bit because it reminded me of like a turn-based Shadow Tactics. In fact, if they had this game, but it was Shadow Tactics, like if Shadow Tactics was based with this style, I'd be all over that. Like, I really would. Even as it was, I really liked Jagged Alliance 3. There are a few problematic things because it's making fun of action movies of especially the 80s. And so if you know anything about the treatment of women in action movies of the 80s, so just keep that in mind. But Jagged Alliance 3 was really cool. I really like this. And this is a game I can definitely see myself coming back to in the future. Have they really? I didn't know that, Butthurt. No kidding. Oh, my goodness. I did not know that, Butthurt. Wow, that's too bad. I liked Shadow Tactics. I just didn't like the real-time thing just because it's not as much my style. But regardless, really like Jagged Alliance 3. Yeah, but there's so many quality of life improvements is what I read, Tom, about from Jagged Alliance 3 compared to 2 that I was like, for a first try at this, because I never played really any of the Jagged Alliance games, I don't think. Maybe I played the first one for an hour or two, but not very much, if at all. I figured it was good to start with 3. So, but I like Jagged Alliance 3, and I definitely would recommend this, and I may come back to it. So that is number 18 on the list. All right, that brings us to 17, and 17 on the list is a game that I am currently playing as we speak, and I'm playing it with our vocalists, and it is a game called Growing Up. I'm not sure that I know how to explain this game. If you were to combine a visual novel, like if you combined Life is Strange with Candy Crush and a bunch of resource management mini games, you would end up with Growing Up, and then have some really bizarre representation of parenting. I don't really know how to describe it. It's a game that's been really fun to play, but I think it's really fun to play because I'm playing it with our vocalist team. If I were playing this on my own, I think I'd be like, what is going on? Because it's not as much of the visual novel as I was hoping for them. Speaking of which, by the way, Citizen Sleeper 2 is coming out next year, and that's definitely going to be on the Our Vocalist list because that's a good game for the Our Vocalist. But anyway, so Growing Up was a lot of fun despite that. Almost in spite of itself, it's so silly and goofy, and the representations are sometimes so like way out in left field that I was like, you know what? It's fun, actually. And so, yeah, Growing Up. Didn't I play this already? Yes, I clearly already have played the Growing Up game, but, I'm rerunning it. I'm doing a speed run, Tom, of Growing Up there, too. Yeah, I love Citizen Sleeper 1. I'm looking forward to 2 a lot as well. I thought about whether I should play the Citizen Sleeper 1 DLC, but I'm like, I feel like it ended in a good spot for me. So, yeah, Citizen Sleeper 2 is definitely on the list. That might even be the next game that we play after Growing Up, and then I'm going to go back to the Ace Attorney game. I think that probably is what we're looking at. So we'll see. Anyway, Growing Up, fun game. If you like, it is intriguing. And if you like games that are sort of like, as I said, a mix of those games, I think you'll like it. It doesn't work quite as well as I think it should. Like, it doesn't work as well as, like, I Love You, Colonel Sanders, because it's not quite aware of itself enough. Like a game that's really self-aware, like I Love You, Colonel Sanders, works because people know of it. Or the Sonic the Hedgehog murder game that I played last year. This game isn't quite self-aware enough to do that. So it's like the writing isn't quite as good, so it doesn't quite rise up to that level. But the skill tree stuff is really interesting. It's an interesting combination of mechanics. So I really did like it. It was just not quite at the level of those other ones, I think. All right. That now brings us to the second game, which I have been playing off stream. And I've been playing this with a longtime friend of mine. And this is a game that I honestly did not think I was going to like as much as I have. Again, I think part of that is that I'm playing it with this friend of mine. And so that's part of what's leading to this reaction. But it is very, very cool. Hold on. I have to, whoops, nope, not that, this. I have to resize it. So this is, again, a game that I've been playing off stream. And it is Dawncraft. Now, for those of you who don't know about this, this is basically a mod of Minecraft, but it is an extensive mod of Minecraft, and it basically turns Minecraft into a kind of role-playing game, which is my jam, 100%. So, yeah, I do wonder a little bit about that, Triffid. I do wonder a little bit about that. Fabio says in YouTube, good to hear Jagged Alliance 3 is enjoyable if you haven't played Jagged Alliance because the community keeps lamenting there never was a successor to Jagged Alliance 2. Yeah, I know. That wasn't the real game. That movie never happened, all that kind of stuff. So, I've only played 3 of them though. I only played 3 games off stream. Most of the games I play are on stream, but one of these I play with a friend. In fact, all 3 games, there's only one game that I play off stream that's just me playing it on my own. The other 2 I play with friends of mine, and we have a regular get-together to play these games. Or I play with my kids. Like last year, I had Super Mario Kart 8 on there for the first time because I play Mario Kart 8 with my kids and stuff like that. But most games, overwhelmingly, I play on stream. Once in a while, though, I play something offline like Dawncraft. Dawncraft is basically like RPG Minecraft, and there's a lot of cool aspects to it, not the least of which is that you're able to get cool stuff like sorcery and magic and do all this stuff. And it's a little more driven by quests and exploration and less on crafting. I don't typically love crafting in games. I would much rather have, if you gave me a choice between you can craft your own magical weapon or you can go search this dungeon and at the bottom of the dungeon you'll find a magical sword, sign me up for the latter experience. Like, I love exploration and finding cool treasure. I do not like having to craft it myself most of the time. Dawncraft emphasizes that exploration also. Now, because it's Minecraft at its core, it still is going to have some of the limitations of that system, not just the graphics, but also some of the jankiness. Like, they have a whole combat system that they installed, but like the combat system is weird and it doesn't feel tight, like you do this and this happens. So it's not perfect by any stretch, but I have to admit, I've had a lot of fun playing it again, partly because I'm playing it with an old friend of mine, and I do that every few weeks. But just, I've enjoyed that game. Not something I don't think I would stream, but definitely something I had a lot of fun playing off stream. So that's my second of 3 off stream games, which is Dawncraft, and that came in at 16, which now brings us to the top 15 games of the year. I don't remember who it is that recommended this game. If you're in chat, you can tell me when we get there. But this is a game that I liked quite a bit because for 2 reasons. 1, I love style. And 2, I love Zorro. So you put all those things together, and this is basically why we end up with On Guard. On Guard is really cool. It's a game in which basically, it was Prince Justin. Oh, cool. Okay. This was a great one, Prince Justin. I like this a lot. This is basically a game where you play a heroic character with a sword who basically goes forward and challenges these, like sort of an evil, vaguely Spanish, right around the 18th, 19th century, again, sort of that Zorro sort of feel as the character. And I like the sense of humor in this. I like the sense of action about it. This is a game that has pretty good controls in comparison to Jusant, which did not have those things. So there's a lot of things to recommend it. The only reason that this isn't ranked higher for me is because, and I may even come back and play this game again, is it is a little Dark Souls-y in combat, unforgiving, which is not my favorite kind of thing. I liked this despite that. And there were so many aspects of it that I like, this is really neat. I really enjoy this. That's right. Yeah, very much a Mike Underwood style game as well. I could totally see that. So On Guard is very cool. And there are a lot of good elements to it. And when you do succeed at beating a boss, there's a lot of like, yeah, we got through. But it was very unforgiving in the combat. And that was the only thing that I was like, sort of down on a little bit. But I might even come back to this game at some point. Really, really liked this a lot. And I highly recommend it if you like action games and if you like anything having to do with sword fighting. I mean, you got to get on this. I mean, because it really is great for that sort of stuff. So very, very cool game. And it was a good recommendation from Prince Justin. All right, that brings us to number 14. Another example here of a game that does not overstay its welcome and that does a lot of things very, very well, assuming I can find it. Okay. Now, this game, oops, I transitioned it the wrong way. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'll transition it now. Okay. This game is a game which I like a lot. And honestly, this is from Inkle. Again, it's a Highland song. But there is one part of the game that is so awesome that it makes the rest of the game pale in comparison. This is a simple game, really, where you're trying to get from the top game of the list. Oh, did you, Thorn? Where it was on the top of this mountain. And you have to get down to meet, I think it's your uncle, by a certain time so you can see the seals when they're there. But I wasn't able to get all the way down to the bottom of that list. Oh, cool, Soupstan, I'm glad. I wasn't able to get down to the bottom of the hill in time to do that. But it doesn't punish you for doing it. You get down to the bottom, you don't get to see the seals, but you still get this really great conversation with your uncle. Because she doesn't have, like, her father's gone and, like... So, first of all, a couple things that Inkle nails. The character is awesome. She's really fun. She's resilient. She's interesting. Plus, sign me up for a Scottish accent all day long. Emily will appreciate this, especially after the incredible trip to England that I had in August. Like all day long and twice on Sundays. Like, I mean, I loved the accent and they nailed that. Second thing they nailed, the freaking music is on point. And in fact, the best part of the game is this rhythm part of the game where you're listening to the songs, which is straight up played by like a Scottish Highlands band with bagpipes and the full bit, following this deer, and you're basically tapping to jump. So it's like a rhythm game. I freaking loved that. I could have done that for hours. And I wish, in fact, the whole game was that, because as I said, I think the rest of the game kind of pales in comparison. There are places that you have to, like, there's a bit of a survival mechanic. You have to get into like shelter to protect yourself. And like the exploration is cool, but it's a little weird. Well, yes, the United Kingdom, let's put it that way, Trivet. I did then end up going to England from there. You're right. The United Kingdom. I mean, my favorite part of it, I mean, I should have said also Prince Justin would identify with this too. Prince Justin and Emily and I were talking with each other when they started warming up bagpipes in back of the venue where Worldcon was being held. And like, it was awesome. Like, that was great. Yeah, especially Oxford. But yes, no, that's fair. United Kingdom. I apologize to all those I have offended from the United Kingdom. But so the music was great. The exploration in Highland Song was fine. But I did not enjoy it as much as I liked the rest of it. But it's a game that does not overstay its welcome. It certainly would encourage replays. There's all kinds of things that you can do. It was they were cool, weren't they, Prince Justin? Yeah. Yeah. That was so cool. I really love that. So Highland Song, I list this as a new game, even though it's a bit of a stretch. This came out in like December 2023. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to count this as new this year, even though, because it was like December 18th or so. It was like very late. So I was like, all right, I'm going to count this, even though it technically came out in 2023, as a new game this year. Really liked Highland Song. I do wish that some parts of it lived up to the rest of the parts, and that's why I wasn't higher. But it was very, very good. I really liked Highland Song a lot. All right, we're getting up there, chat. It's up to lucky number 13 here. Lucky number 13 as we move on to game number 13 on the list. And game number 13 on the list, which is right here, is a game that I played. I think this is the first one that I played this year over on GOG.com's channel, or I don't know if it's the first one, but it's one of the ones that I played over on GOG.com's Twitch channel during Pen and Pixels, and that is Sovereign Syndicate. Sovereign Syndicate was very neat. It's a game in which you basically have these three characters. It's telling a story from three very different perspectives, set in this kind of dystopian, steampunky universe of basically London. And speaking of England again, it also has very little combat as such. Most of the game is done through the basis of cards and skills. So there's a lot based on like skill checks and things like that. Very, very cool game, Sovereign Syndicate. I think my only issue with Sovereign Syndicate is that there were aspects of the game that got to be a little bit of a slog, where I felt like I should have been able to do something I wanted to do without having to jump through 3 hoops to do it. Like it felt a little adventure gamey to me at times. But Sovereign Syndicate was very, very cool. You played it on flop. You played Syndicate Deluxe on floppies. Well, but Fabio, very different game though. Sovereign Syndicate has nothing to do with the original Syndicate. That game's cool too in its own way. Sovereign Syndicate is a totally different game. Totally different franchise concept and all that. So just so you know. Sovereign Syndicate, though, very interesting RPG, and it's an interesting game to play. Oh, you know it's not the same game. All right. Very interesting to play as well if you do any DMing or GMing, because it really gives you ideas about what else you can use skill checks for. And I was reading today a review of a particular adventure path that I'm thinking, or module that I'm thinking of running for one of my D&D campaigns down the line. And I was getting annoyed at the constant like, oh, it's too bad it's so much not combat for a game that's only combat. It's too bad. You should look for another system that isn't combat. And I'm like, for the 7 millionth time, Dungeons & Dragons does not have to be about combat. Witness any of the campaigns I play during which we've had multiple sessions that didn't have any combat in them and just role play. Please learn to play. I hate to be that guy, but get good. If you don't know how to make D&D a game that's anything other than combat, please get good. So one way to do that is to recognize that skill checks are your friend, and you can do skill checks without having to make everything roll to hit and kill something. Sovereign Syndicate does that. And so I like that. But it was a little, as I say, a little grindy at times in a way. And Soup Stand, I was just about to say that. Also, Happy New Year, Wispy. Happy New Year's, Wispy Song. Good to see you, Wispy. Happy New Year's. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see everybody here who's here. Welcome, welcome. Very much in the Disco Elysium mold. Yes. But where I bounced off of Disco Elysium because I found it was just way, way too slow and turgid for me. And I love text-based games, and I love lots of heavy role-play games and stuff. But oh my goodness, does Disco Elysium go on and on and on. That was one thing that made me just sort of go like, ugh. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, I could play Disco Elysium, and I'm like, ugh. Again, I know people love these games. I know they love. I know I don't want to hate on people who love Disco Elysium. Love whatever you love, but for me, oh my god. So Sovereign Syndicate had a little bit more. It moved a little faster, but it still was a little slow for me at times with some of these things. Nonetheless, I thought that Sovereign Syndicate was very cool. And I love the different perspectives from which you're showing this world. That was neat too. So highly recommend that as well if you like role-playing games to try out, especially if you GM or DM them. All right. That was number 13. Now 12, we get to my last off-stream game of this ranking. So bear with me a second. I have enjoyed this a lot, and I've enjoyed this a lot despite the fact that I have only played this now about 3 sessions, I would say. Okay, why? What the heck? No. No. Hold on a second. It's being difficult. Here we go. Alrighty. So, this is a game that I've been playing, again, with friends off-stream. It is the final off-stream game that I'm going to have here. And I really like it a lot. I have been playing it with friends. This is something I think Prince Justin could actually really enjoy a lot with Alphabet streams as well. I think it might be up your alley. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. Now, there are multiple reasons why I like this game. Number one, it's Lord of the Rings. Let's move on to 11. No, just kidding. But that is one reason I like it. You play a dwarf, or multiple dwarves actually. The one spoiler I'll give you is that at the very, 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 very beginning of the game, you are trapped within Moria, which Gimli has been trying to get into after the events of Lord of the Rings, because it's time that the dwarves be brought back to their ancestral homeland. So you get trapped in it, and you need to try to escape it. But you need to escape it through a variety of factors. Number one, there's crafting. Now, you might say, didn't you just tell me that you don't like crafting games? And the answer is yes, but. Number one, I'm playing this with friends. So remember how I told you Dawncraft I was enjoying because I'm playing it with a friend? This one I'm playing with one or two friends, and I really like it. Number two, it scales well if you're playing with 1 player, 2 players, 3 players, 4. That's really cool. Number three, there's tons of exploration in it, so you find bases that Balin left, and you can reconstruct those bases with pre-built stuff that's there. So you can build it, then you can build forward bases so you can open new bases, okay? There are great set pieces to it. One of them early on in the game is where you restart a great forge. And the cutscene when you restart the great forge is really, really cool. There are orcs and goblins and other creatures of different kinds in there, but one of the things that I really like about it is that they attack and you can do all this combat. The combat does feel tight in this game. You can play very well with other people, but they do enough things to make it so it doesn't become frustrating if you lose stuff. Like, you don't lose as much progress as you might expect otherwise. We literally just unlocked the ability to get fast travel, so we can travel between bases quickly, which is super cool. Up to 8 players. That's right. Private servers would be good as well. Yes, absolutely. That would be amazing. The other thing I want to mention about it that's cool, when you start mining, and you're going to be shocked to hear that the dwarves mine, you start mining, right? You're mining away. At a certain point, you can start singing. And you sing not just one, not two, but multiple dwarven mining songs, which give you bonuses and boosts. But there's more. Because if you are helping a friend mine, you can join the song and you start harmonizing. So you harmonize in-game with the song. So at one point you can have like 4 or 5 dwarves harmonizing a mining song in Moria. Like, please sign me up. Like, and also when you do that, there are times when you do that, you will attract orcs and goblins. And I was playing this literally with my friend the other day, and we're doing that. And it said, it's like a horde of orcs is coming. And we were like, we stopped for a second. And then I said to him, I'm like, do you want to stop? He's like, no. And we were like, oh, the iron orc. It was so funny. Like, and the orcs showed up and we killed them. And then we went back to doing what we're doing. It's challenging without being obnoxious. There's exploration involved. There's a lot of cool dwarf elements too. If you like dwarves from Lord of the Rings, you have to play this. There are moments where like you honor the dwarves, you rebuild statues, and then you find aspects of recipes that you can then make other things with. You can honor like the fallen graves of dwarves. It's very, very, very cool. And it's a game which I might even want to play on stream at some point. In fact, I find myself thinking about this game sometimes and being like, maybe I should just play this myself because I don't want to wait for my friend to be able to play it. It's really cool. I highly recommend Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. I've had a great time with it. Now, you only play it. Also, you can customize your dwarf a lot. You only play a dwarf. Like, you don't play elves or anything else. But even in this section, there are very distinctive different sides of Moria. There's like an elven area too that is designed much differently. It's very cool. I highly recommend it. I do think that Prince Justin, you would like it. I'd love to watch other people play it so that I can kind of get my fix of Moria when I'm not playing it. I really enjoy this game a lot. I've had a lot of fun with it. So that is number 12, Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. All right. Closing in on the top 10. Number 11. Number 11 is a game that I think is both ambitious and well executed, and with very few exceptions, does what it's supposed to do exceedingly well. And it's a game which I thought about quite a bit even as I was playing it. And that is the game Chants of Sennaar. This is a fascinating game. It's a game in which, hi, Dragon Spear. No, that the stream just started. Very funny. No, it did not. We are up to, you haven't missed the top 10. You just watched an original recording of Meryl Travis in the 50s. 16 Tons is one of those songs, 16 Tons. It is not. It is not Fabio, I'm sorry to say. Happy New Year, India. Happy New Year. Okay, Chants of Sennaar. This game is really cool. So the premise is that you wake up and you start at the bottom of this tower, and you don't know any of the languages of the people who live in the tower. But over time, you figure it out based on context clues. And each of the races or species of the tower, each of them has their own kind of language based upon the kind of creature they are. Even the symbology reflects that. The fighting race is more like angular, almost like Klingon is almost more angular with their language and stuff. But over time, you build bridges almost literally and figuratively among them so that they can communicate with each other using those languages. A lot of Tower of Babel, going on here. And by the time you get to the top of the tower, you figure out why all of this is happening and the way this works. It's so great. I really enjoy Chants of Sennaar. There's some puzzle work in it too. There are a couple of moments that get very hard where you're like, wait, I don't know what to do next. There were a couple of ones where I think I had to get a clue because I just couldn't figure it out at all, but not too many. For the most part, it's very challenging, but not overwhelming, I found, for the most part. And just very neat little moments, little set piece moments that I really like. This is a very cool game. It doesn't quite cohere all the time, which is why it doesn't reach the top 10. But it is very cool, and I like it a lot. So high recommendations for Chants of Sennaar. All right, so as we move out of the before the bottom 10, or the top 10, I should say, let's just recap quickly for those who came in late. So top 27, again, 6 of these games came out new this year. The one exception is Highland Song, but that's so late in 2023. I counted it as a 2024 game. 3 of these games are games that I played off stream, but everything else is played on stream. I played 27 total games this year. 27th was Kinseed. 26th was Typer Shark Deluxe. 25th, Unusual Findings. 24th, Kathy Rain Director's Cut. 23rd, Ephemerid, A Musical Adventure. 22nd, Jusant. 21, Californium. 20, I played off stream, Professor Layton and the Curious Village. 19, Age of Wonders 4. 18, Jagged Alliance 3. 17, Growing Up. 16, Dawncraft, which I played off stream. 15, On Guard. 14, A Highland Song, which again is basically new, late 2023, so I counted them. 13, Sovereign Syndicate, that was new this year. 12, Lord of the Rings, Return to Moria. I just talked about that. That game was off stream. I don't think that's new this year, although I might be wrong. That actually might be a new game. Wait a minute, I need to look. And I don't count early access, by the way. I only count when it actually goes into formal games. Right, it was released October 2023, so it counts. So it does not count as a new game. That's what I thought. Okay, Return to Moria off stream. No, not likely, Dragonspear. Yeah, Return to Moria was October. Yeah, Fabio, yeah. Okay, 11, Chants of Sennaar. Okay, this brings us to number 10. Now, I found number 10 to be absolutely delightful, and it was a game that I really, really liked this game because it's a classic example of a game that doesn't overstay its welcome, as I've said. The controls are great. The setup for the game, oh, thank you very much. My lovely wife is here to drop off a sandwich and my daughter's phone. Thank you. Did you see see the lights?
Yeah, she said you're happy?
Very happy. Super excited for it. And it's customizable too. Super cool. Okay. So this actually is a window capture because I played this game later. Now, I'll tell you exactly when I played this game too, and this is, I think, very instructive. I played this game right after I got frustrated in trying to play Jusant. And I had tried it once, and I played it a second day of Jusant, and I got so annoyed that I was just like, God, it was frustrating, and I was like, God, this sucks, and I hate it, and blah, blah, blah. And so I went looking for a game to play that day. I'm pretty sure it was that session that would sort of take the taste out of my mouth, the bad taste in my mouth. Not only did it do that, it gave me a great experience. This game is wonderful, and it is A Short Hike, number 10. I love this game so much. It is a game about a bird that has to go to the top. I knew you would like this, Emily. It's about a bird that went to the top of this cliff and ends up having this conversation with her mom. Like, she's visiting her grandmother, and she ends up having this conversation with her mother, and she's worried because her mother is like sick, and that's why she has to go live with her grandmother for a little while because her mother's having surgery. I don't want to tell you any spoilers, except I'll just tell you, you're never going to feel devastated by this game. The game is just gloriously put together. It's excellently controlled. It's exhilarating to fly the bird. It's got progression in it. It has cute characters. It's an interesting story. There's more exploration stuff that I probably even missed. And it has an example of a game. There are a few games like this. Brothers Tale of Two Sons has a wonderful ending. A thing happens at the end that makes everything previous to it click into place in a way that's just absolutely so overwhelmingly special. I can't describe it. I've used it many times in panels. It's amazing. The end of Untitled Goose Game is chef's kiss. One of the best endings of any game I've ever played is Untitled Goose Game because of the setup. It's almost like setting up a punchline to a joke. It's the best freaking punchline. Untitled Goose Game is awesome. Short Hike, exactly like that. You jump off. I don't want to tell you what it is. It's amazing. You have to play it. It's not expensive. Go play it. Go get it. Go play it as soon as the stream's over, or after you watch my stream tonight or whatever. If you're looking for a game, it's a few hours to play. I don't know what it is on Steam or on GOG. I don't remember how much it is. It's not expensive. It's like $5 maybe. It's worth 20. It's awesome. It's so good. I cannot recommend it enough. Partly because it was such an example of Jusant ambition exceeding its grasp because they didn't get the freaking controls right. This game knows what it's doing. Pow. And they give you a short hike. Like, just freaking amazing. So high recommendation through this. Yes, that description that Prince Justin has there is just, I love it. It almost undersells it. And this game I played, remember, this is ranked top 10 for me, right? Number 10 of the year for me. And I played this once for 3 hours, which was all it took to finish it. And I loved it that much. It was absolutely freaking great. I adored it. Highest recommendation. It was great. I love Short Hike. Okay. So that was Short Hike. That's number 10. Jusant was the game where you climb the mountain and the control system is awful. And yeah, a game that I wanted to love a lot more than I did. And then I couldn't because controls. Okay. Number 9 on this list. And I think it's funny because that other game is about hiking, as so it says, about flying really, but about traveling. This game also is about traveling, but it's got a very different feel to it. Quite different. Enormously different, actually. And that game I played with the R vocalist, and that is the Banner Saga 3. Now, this is not light, okay? Short hike, lighthearted, fun, moving, but it's, it's cool. The Banner Saga 3, it's $7.99 on GOG and it's $4.39 on Steam. It's worth either of those amounts. Game is easily worth $10, if not $15. And honestly, I mean, I don't want to send people away from GOG, but $4.39 for a game that you'll play 4 hours, it'll be $1 per hour of some of the best delightful entertainment you'll have. I absolutely adore Short Hike. Super good. The Banner Saga 3 is amazing. Especially, it's amazing. I might consider doing a top 10 of the decade. That's a good idea, Triffid. I should think about that. Wow. Woof. Of course, I'm already past the decade. I'd have to think about like top 20, maybe 2025, like top games, top 10 of like the first 5 years. Remind me of that, please, Triffid, at some point, because that's a cool idea. I should do that maybe sometime. Anyway, the Banner Saga 3. Especially as a sequel to Banner Saga 1 and 2, this game does a lot right. I don't know that the game works on its own as well if you have not played those other 2 games. But in terms of storytelling, animation design, music, and especially feel, if you want to get the feel of a game down, the feel of a world, this game does that absolutely in spades. It is not a happy game, although there are absolute moments of hope and grace within it. But oh my goodness, does this game deliver on a vision and stay through it? And that honestly is what I always admired Stoic Studio, and I obviously interviewed the developers for Banner Saga 1, but I admire the fact that 1, 2, and 3, they stayed consistent to their vision all the way. This game is awesome. Tremendous music, tremendous visuals, fun combat, although I honestly think the combat isn't even the best part of it. I think it's the storytelling, I think it's the animation, and I think somehow it just nails thematically and tonally what it wants to do. I would highly recommend Banner Saga 1 and 2, Tom. If you've played 1 and you liked it, absolutely you should get 2 and 3. Now, I will warn you, 2 and 3, I don't know that I'd play these all back to back either, because that's a lot. This game is a slog in a different way. This game is a slog in a, whoa, my God, that was a lot. It was intense. It's not a happy game, but I think it's a meaningful game. It's not something like, let me give an example if I can. Cormac McCarthy's The Road feels to me irredeemably bleak. It's a book that literally is just like everything sucks and then you die and just continues to make the same message over and over again. It's very well written for those things, but I have no interest in reading a book that spends most of its time talking about how desperately awful everything is. Sorry, not my interest, not my level of interest. If there is something that is dark but has hope, dark but with a grace note, dark but with possibility. Good example, I was talking about this with my students during last semester when I taught it, and I've spoken about this, I think, with Prince Justin before. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is a dark book, is not a happy book, but the end of that book has a grace note, a major grace note, that makes you wonder, maybe this isn't all death and despair. And that, I think, that thread of humanity makes it more than just a, why would I even want to open this book? Like, why do I want to spend my life depressed, right? Banner Saga 3, I think, is similar in that there are grace notes of hope. And I actually really liked the ending to the Banner Saga 3, which I think delivered a lot on its promises earlier on without becoming everything's happy, but it's not despairing. And I think that's very cool. It is a very unforgiving game. That's true. I would agree with that entirely. But I highly recommend the Banner Saga 3. It will also be partly colored for me by the fact that I got to play it with multiple iterations of the Arvocalist, that whole series, because I played Banner Saga 1 and then 2 and then all that. So like, it's so great. I really like the Banner Saga 3 a lot though, and I highly recommend it. This game I want to say is, I don't know, Thorne, I know you're looking over there. Is it like $20 over on Steam and like 15 on GOG or something, or 25 on GOG? It's probably between 20 and 30, actually. Really like the Banner Saga 3. I also want to encourage us to buy games like this that do more of that. So, yeah, which is coming out in speculative. Is it Speculative Horizons, Emily? That's not it. What's the name of the journal? Can I tell the devs to put the entire saga for sale? Hey, listen, they put a lot on sale, but I don't have control to do that, I'm afraid, nonstop. I wish. It's $25 per game. There are 2 different ones. That you're talking to Dragon Spear. Okay. Is it Speculative Horizons? I'm getting that mixed up with Strange Horizons. Because you have something coming out in Strange Horizons. My bad. Speculative Insight. $25 per game. I'll tell you what, though, man. I understand what you're saying, but honestly, that game's worth $25. Banner Saga 3 is very good. I really liked it a lot. All right, so that is number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list is a game that is up my alley in a lot of ways. I don't think it delivers on everything, but it delivers on a lot of stuff that I really like in games, especially computer role-playing games. Despite some of its flaws, I still thought it was cool. And that is, whoops, because I already did that. That is this game, which is Black Geyser Couriers of Darkness. Very Baldur's Gatey in its feel, deliberately so. Draws a lot of inspiration from Pillars of Eternity. But I like this better than Pillars of Eternity because I feel like the combat in this lands better. I feel like the game, I honestly thought the lore in this was a little better, even though it's not a AAA game the way that Pillars of Eternity was. I like Pillars of Eternity, but I didn't love it. I liked the West March, the White March Part 1, I actually like better than the main game. And I've talked for reasons about why before, so I won't go through those again now. Never played Pillars of Eternity 2, so I need to try that at some point and see. But Black Geyser, for me, gets a lot right, and it feels more like it clicks in the way that the other ones did not as well. So now there were frustrations. The last area, as you were speaking about nonstop, was difficult. And I thought the ending was a little odd in this game because it didn't quite seem to land with what I thought the ending was doing. So it was a little bit like, it's that old BioWare problem where it's like, you choose the option instead of Paragon or Renegade. You're like, I don't know if I agree with that. And then the person actually says, you're a piece of crap. How dare you? And you're like, what? Like, what the, like, I didn't mean that. So that sort of thing. There was a little bit of that sometimes in Black Geyser. And I also think, and there were one or two quests that were bugged as well. At least one that I know of for sure that was bugged, which needed to be fixed. But I don't know. I'd have to look, Thorne. I'm not sure, though. But I really like Black Geyser Couriers of Darkness. And despite sort of the flaws that I mentioned in it, highly recommend this game, especially if you like the old Infinity Engine games, which I do. If you like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, I'm not saying this is going to measure up to those, but it's going to be pleasantly reminiscent to you of them. If you like Pillars of Eternity, you'll definitely like that. If you like the game Tyranny, this definitely fits in there also. It's not perfect. It's a little ham-handed at times. The writing could be better, but I think in general it does a lot of things well. And so that game rose to me to the level of number 8 in the list. Now, I already saw this game being mentioned as a game that people thought was going to be my number 2 game of the year. And that's interesting because I did not have it that high, but I can understand why people would say it, because it is a game that is, in a lot of ways, that does a lot of things that I like very well. And that is Songs of Conquest. In fact, I'm going to be playing more of this game over on GOGCOM's Twitch channel a little bit later on today. Songs of Conquest is an example of a strategy game that I really do like. It is very Heroes of Might and Magic-y. It is very exploration-y. It's very story-y. It's got a lot of things. It ticks off a lot of boxes for me. I like the different factions. I like the writing, which I think is quite good for the most part. I like the sense of humor. And I think the combat is fun, although I actually think the combat is the sort of lowest part of the game. And that's not anything. It's not saying it's bad. Some people think it's the best part of the game. I think the combat's good, but what I really like about the game is the over map management, and finding out more about the story and the exploration. I love all of that stuff. I don't love pixel art, and so that's a drawback for me personally, but that's just because I personally don't like it. It's very good pixel art, though, so if you like pixel art, this will be amazing to you. I like the sprite art. I just saw there was a new Heroes of Might and Magic coming out called Olden Realm, which I thought was a little weird, or Olden Era. Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era, which I was looking at, I'm like, ooh, because Heroes of Might and Magic, sign me up. I love that series, one of my favorite series. But Songs of Conquest sort of ticks a lot of those boxes for me. It's not perfect, and it's why it's not higher. There are aspects of it. I don't love all the factions quite the same way. The first faction in particular is like the character you play. That's the thing. A lot of these characters, I like the different perspectives on stories. I said the same thing about Sovereign Syndicate. A lot of the characters here, though, are not very likable. Especially Cecilia Stoutheart is not likable. She's just very much like, I'm doing this for my kingdom, and she's like very cruel, and like that was one thing that Pyron Jade, who first talked about Songs of Conquest, what put her off the game was she didn't like having to do the things that she did within the game. But I found that there were other parts of the game where you could do that. I loved Rana, who is the frog character that you see there. That's Rask, who's one of the Rana who started as enslaved. Very, very neat. I like a lot of the city building mechanisms as well. The upgrade tree is satisfying. The resource gatherment, like blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's good, Emily. I'm glad to hear that. So that's all a big thing. Like I really, really, really like Songs of Conquest a lot. Also, the songs in between missions are really fun. But that too is an example where the game is good, but not quite there. Like a good example of that is the music. I love the music. I like the music, but it's a little repetitive. They could have done with a few more songs. I like the songs, but the songs basically, as someone pointed out to me last week, are just recapping what happened in the mission that we just had, which is like, why do that? And also You could tell that there's some like chorusing going on. I'm a little suspicious if this might have some AI in it, which would be really bad. I don't think it does, but it almost has a little feel like the harmonizations feel more chorused than actual. So that may just be a limitation of budget, but I would have liked to see a little more development of that. And the factions, there's another faction that they just got that just opened up, like this snow faction. And I was like, oh, cool, but there's no campaign associated with it. And I was like, okay. That's not going to matter to you if you just want to play the PvP stuff, but definitely campaign. Because otherwise you're going to have to do something like Extra Dead is playing here, saying I will burst into the song, even it's Happy New Year. How are you, Extra Dead? What do you mean Extra Dead? I don't do that ever. So yes. So I am very, very, I really liked Songs of Conquest. There were just some elements of it that didn't quite cohere in the way that I hoped, which is why it's not higher, but it's still great, and I really like it, and it's as much a mark of the other games being games I just liked a little more as it is anything else. All right. Now we have a game that I think has come as far from having little play in it as I can ever remember having on a ranking system. I've played this game once, and I liked it so much that it is number 6 on my list, and that's Caves of Kood. Now, I may end up discovering, after playing this, because this is going to be the next game I play after Beyond Shadowgate, I may end up discovering, after playing several sessions of this, that it's not the way I thought, and it's going to fade in my mind a little bit. That has happened occasionally in the past. It happened a little bit to Bard's Tale 4. If I had it to do over, I probably would have dropped that to like 4 or 5 on the list instead of 1. But I don't know, man. There's so much good stuff about Caves of Kood, especially the way that I'm playing it, which is Wander mode. Classic mode, where you like keep losing progress. Nope. No, thank you. Roleplay mode, where you still lose a lot of your stuff and you have to like it's like Dark Souls. No, thank you. But Wander mode, where I get to wander through the game and like explore, and I get experience specifically designed for that mode for exploring. In just one game, I traveled out. I found some gadgets for a guy, traveled north and got lost a bunch, avoided them, found a ruin that I broke I managed to break through the rubble in a ruin by attacking it with a freaking brass dagger for like 3 weeks, but I kept at it and I broke through it, and then I got some awesome treasure. And I solved the mystery of why this village who stole this bracelet from someone and restored a village exile to her rightful place in the village. Like, absolutely loved it. Caves of Kood, man. I wish I could have put it in the top 5, but the games I have above it were so good that I just couldn't. But oh my goodness, I am so excited to play Caves of Kood in the new year. It's going to be great. And yes, good job, Trifid, for nominating it, because I love this game a lot. I really liked it. Now, again, we'll see. It's a game that may not work. And I don't think I would have liked the original mode of the game. But Wander mode, and also this game is new this year, because I know it's been in like early access for 15 years. Don't care. I still count it as new this year because that's when it went into 1.0. So Songs of Conquest new, Caves of Kood new. Very good. Really liked it. Awesome stuff. Great stuff. Caves of Kood, highly recommend. How much did Pyron Jade pay me to put it in 6? No, Fabio. It is true that Pyron Jade has played like 300 hours in Caves of Kood, but I started playing and I'm like, oh, I see why people like this game. Also, by the way, you ready for this, chat? Sentient chair pets. My pet in that game is a sentient rocking chair. Like, how can you not rank a game highly when you have a chance to have a rocking chair as a pet? You can pet it, and the line is, it rocks gently. I'm sorry. Like, game of the year. No, it's not game of the year, but it's number 6. Could you ride it? Well, maybe. I do know about the quick save, although now that I have Soup Stand, you can actually mod it in. But now that I have Wander mode, I haven't felt the need to do that, because you can save it within villages as well. You're never alone in that chair. No, I'm alone with the chair, Tom. My Best Friend and Me, the rocking chair. Anyway, highly recommend Caves of Kood. Really, really liked it. So that was number 6. Oh, that's what Tom is saying. Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. You're 100% right. Yes, thank you, Emily. No, you're right. Yes, you're never alone. You're never alone. Exactly right, Tom. You're never alone. That's absolutely right. Okay. So that now leads us to the top 5. 5 games left, chat. Number 5 is a game that I am going to be playing again this Thursday, and I'm going to be interviewing the developer. Oh my goodness, is Beyond Shadowgate good. Beyond Shadowgate does everything you want a sequel to do. It nails the feel of the game without trafficking solely in nostalgia. It does callbacks without requiring you to have played the original to have fun with it. It has charming writing. It has a great puzzle experience. It's challenging without being obnoxious. It has multiple surprise moments. It has tremendous music that's on point. I imagine I will, Emily. I imagine I will more than once. I absolutely have adored Beyond Shadowgate. I've only played this twice. So that's another example of a game. Also, this is another game that's new this year. It's another example of a game that is a game that I don't have to play much to know how much I'm going to enjoy it. And this game is, I have played like 8 hours of it, so I think I played enough to make it credible. Caves of Kood, I was wincing a little bit because I'm like, I don't know, it's putting a lot of pressure on one playthrough, but man, I love that game so much so far. Beyond Shadowgate has been absolutely amazing. And if you want to know more about this fantasy-driven, music-driven, there are some dark and gory moments, but it's surprising. It goes places you wouldn't expect. If you want all of that coolness in a one nice, neat package, and you want to hear from one of the developers and the lead writer on that game and a producer for it, join me on Thursday night for that, because I'm going to be playing some of it and interviewing the developer Christian Mosley, who's one of the devs for the game. And he's with some of the original devs who did the original NES game. I absolutely love Beyond Shadowgate. So cool. Very much worthy of a top 5 spot. So, number 5, Beyond Shadowgate. Okay. Now, number 4 to 2, I had some trouble ranking because they all, for me, were great games that I really liked a lot. And ultimately, I just had to go on the basis of feel a little bit. Number 4 is Dark Sun Shattered Lands. This was very close to being 3rd or 2nd. I really like Dark Sun Shattered Lands a lot. I think it's very well done. It's a game that I'm surprised I didn't play more back in the day. Even though it's a little janky, it's a game that even the jank is part of the charm. It is not overwhelmingly complicated, but it's very challenging. My big frustration, I guess the reason that I drop it below, is that last fight has a massive out of nowhere difficulty spike. And I was able to defeat it by using some, mechanisms of entangle, confusion, some other things. So I did manage to get there. But that last fight was a little frustrating, I have to be honest. And that probably is why it's not higher. But it doesn't change the fact that for 30 hours or whatever I played on it, it was really great. Really love Dark Sun Shattered Lands a lot. It's a very interesting world. It's a surprisingly good story. It really is Baldur's Gate before Baldur's Gate. A lot of people talk about how this really kind of set the groundwork for it. And I liked it so much that I was going to go right on to Wake of the Ravager. But honestly, Wake of the Ravager has dropped on the list for me because a lot of people have said it's just not nearly as good. It's also pretty buggy. And also I've been in Dark Sun quite a bit, and it's not usually my kind of setting. It's just so cool that I like it anyway. But post-apocalyptic and dystopian isn't usually my jam. But still, I love it anyway. And so I will definitely do Wake of the Ravager at some point, but it's going to be down the list. But I highly recommend this. You can get the whole series on GOG for pretty cheap. I highly recommend it. It was very, very good stuff. And that leads me to number 3 on this list. And this really is sort of 3 and 2. I wasn't sure if I wanted to separate this into 2 spots, but I ultimately decided that I should because it was sort of a different experience in each case. Number 3 on the list is Forgotten Realms Unlimited Adventures: The Realm. I really enjoyed Forgotten Realms a ton. This was my opportunity to go back and play a gold box classic, but to play all of these modules. We played Lost Caverns of Sojsankt. We played Swamp Light, where we had to go like deal with a Rakshasa. We played we played Keep on the Borderlands. We played all of these games. Tefnut came out of that. We played a bunch of games here. I really, and we gave nonstop 8,000 million arrows. White Plume Mountain was in that. That's right. That we played that too. We played, not the Lost City. Oh, we played Tomb of the Lizard King. There were just so many great ones. Oh my God, the armor salesman thing. Well, joke was on them towards the end of that game. Although it was funny, where Dark Sun, the lowest I ever got was like a -1 or -2 AC, like with compared to my negative like 13 or whatever I had at the end of Forgotten Realms. I really liked the realm a lot, and I highly recommend it. And so much of it is free. Like once you get the Unlimited Adventures part, you can get mods that are all free for these modules to put as a part of it. So I really liked that. And that brings me to my top two. And my top two are, I think the second one of these is the one that I wasn't sure whether to sort of split off. And that is Forgotten Realms Unlimited Adventures, Curse of the Fire Dragon. Curse of the Fire Dragon really was the best of all of them. Even though I loved playing the realm and it was a very cool experience, Curse of the Fire Dragon was as advertised. Very fun story, very interesting, involving sort of character development, difficulty spikes that were not out of nowhere. And it was just so, okay, I'm glad, because I was going to say, I felt like the realm, I didn't want to split all of those sub-modules because they all kind of were their own, they were part of the experience of the realm. But Curse of the Fire Dragon really was its own thing. And it was, I loved it so much that it was probably above it. It was also good for the channel. The numbers improved with that. And like, you know, it was good for a lot of reasons. Highly recommend Forgotten Realms and Limited Adventures. There's just a lot of good, you know, you get a lot for your money, a lot of bang for your buck, basically in this. And so yeah, highly recommend that. Absolutely. All right. And that leads us to, so again, to summarize, chat, 27, Kinseed, 26, Typer Shark Deluxe, 25, Unusual Findings, 24, Kathy Rain Director's Cut, 23, Ephemera, A Musical Adventure, 22, Jusant, 21, Californium, 20, Professor Layton, 19, Age of Wonders 4, 18, Jagged Alliance 3, 17, Growing Up, 16, Dawncraft, 15, On Guard, 14, A Highland Song, 13, Sovereign Syndicate, 12, Lord of the Rings, Return to Moria, 11, Chants of Sennar, 10, A Short Hike, 9, The Banner Saga 3, 8, Black Geyser, Couriers of Darkness, 7, Songs of Conquest, 6, Caves of Kood, 5, Beyond Shadowgate, 4, Dark Sun Shattered Lands. No, I'm not going to do that. Dark Sun Shattered Lands was 4, 3, Forgotten Realms, 4, Dark Sun Shattered Lands, 3, Forgotten Realms, Unlimited Adventures, The Realms, 2, Forgotten Realms, Unlimited Adventures, Curse of the Fire Dragon. And that brings us, chat, to our final game. Now, I know that for many of you think, all right, many of you think that I, when it comes to this decision, am predictable. Many of you are like, I know what it was that Arv is going to choose for this. Like, I know the drill. Many of you think you understand what I'm all about. And, you know, maybe that's true. Maybe I love great games. Maybe there are games that are perfectly suited for me. Maybe that's true. I think it's just unfair to assume it, but fine, chat, okay? Your game of the year, Fortnite. Now listen, Fortnite has a lot of good elements to it, okay? I want to explain. You've got crafting, you've got attacking people with it. It's amazing. I can't, there's so many good aspects of Fortnite that I can't. That's our show. Okay, no, I'm kidding. It's not actually Fortnite. That isn't it. Oh me. That isn't it. Okay. No. Oh, hold on. That's oversized. Give me a second. Let me get that sized properly. Ah, the hell. Okay, there we go. Right. Suddenly blurry as well. Why am I blurry? There we go. That's better. The game of the year is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, I look, Final Fantasy VII Remake was my game of the year in 2020. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is maybe even better. One of the greatest games I've ever played. I cannot, I've said this many times, I cannot describe to you in so many ways. I finally played Prince of Persia. I can't describe to you in so many ways what Square Enix did with this. I've said many times they didn't have to do it. They could have just done Final Fantasy VII again, put some new graphics on it, basically done like the remaster that we got for like oh my goodness. I just totally blanked. The game that 38 Studios made, Bob Salvatore is the guy who did the writing for it. And they did a remaster of it, and it was supposed to be an MMO, and then it became an RPG. What the hell's the name of this game? Somebody help me out. Completely blanked. Kingdoms of Amalur. Haha. Kingdoms of Amalur. That's what it is. Kingdom of Amalur. They just slap new graphics on it, and they're like, here you go, here's a new game. That's Kingdom of Amalur. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a different animal entirely. Like Remake, Rebirth really is a meditation on remakes. It's a meditation on what we value as part of our cultural sort of zeitgeist, what it is that we care about, what sort of carries through to us. And it does so to such a great degree. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the ending of Rebirth sets up a scenario not where it rejects the original Final Fantasy VII plot, nor where it restores or reifies the Final Fantasy VII plot. It sort of gives you alternatives. Like, so that I don't even know what it's about entirely, except we're going to get it, obviously, in game number 3. Also, and they deserve enormous credit for this, it also deals with trauma. This is a game that is dealing with trauma, and it's doing so in a way, even though the game itself is not subtle, it handles trauma in a way, in a subtle way. It does it with care. It does it with awareness, with dignity. It's intense at times. There are sections of that game where I was just like crying, just straight up crying. And there are other sections of the game where I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's beautifully put together. It's brilliant mechanically as well. All of the mini games, there were several mini games that I'm like, I don't like playing, freaking Rocket League with Red or whatever. I'm not a big fan of that. But like, even that was sort of fit within the setting that it had. And I haven't even talked yet about Queen's Blood. Queen's Blood, which was awesome. Not only was that game an amazing mini game that I want them to come out with their own like separate game, it even had a storyline, a legit, honest to God storyline about Queen's Blood in the middle of this otherwise badass, amazing game. It is a sequel that surpasses, in my mind, the original. Is it slightly raw at occasional moments? Are there moments where you're like, I don't want to have to collect every single thing of this? Sure. But you could have said the same thing about The Witcher 3, and you'd be right, but it doesn't matter because The Witcher 3 is brilliant anyway. It's absolutely, yeah. Well, the mini game with the Moogles, which I somehow managed to win. I still don't know how I did all of that. Again, I did not like that mini game. But it is overwhelmingly great. Overwhelmingly great. The characterizations are brilliant. The voice acting is brilliant. The music, have I even talked about the music? The music is spectacular. It's not, again, I'm not being hyperbolic here. Go back and watch these streams. Play it for yourself, please. If you have a PS5, if not, when the PC version comes out, get it. And listen to those and tell me that that isn't some of the greatest music ever done for a soundtrack in a game. Ever. Ever. It's brilliant. Utterly brilliant. The characters, the combat is brilliant. Brilliant. Fascinating. Challenging. Not ridiculous, though. Just brilliant. Brilliant. And that's 104, whatever the hell I did. I think I played like 140 hours on it or 150 hours about it. That's something. Just brilliant. And of course, Tifa. Now, chat. It's time we have a bit of a... Wait a second. Hold on just a moment. Wait a second. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, come on, man. Just give me the thing. Hang on. Uh, No, I'm looking for something that's going to make this joke awesome, and I can't even tell you how great it's going to be when we get there. Just you just wait, chat. No. 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 God damn it. This is going to be so funny. Here we go. Chat. We're going to sit down and talk a little bit about Tifa. Sometimes you see someone and you just know that they're the one. You just look right into their soul and you feel like your soul's with them, an open book on the desk of their heart. Sometimes you see someone and you recognize that nothing in your life will ever be the same after them. It's a milestone. It's a door. It's a wall. Before Tifa and after Tifa. Now I recognize that there are some people out there who say, but there's other soulmates. Have you thought about Aerith? Have you thought about, well, you can't, no. Never mind the other one because that's underage and that's gross. So there's really that, but there's other ones you could find. There's plenty of fish in the sea. But I'm here to tell you there's only fish worth catching. Only one fish, and it's a Tifa fish. Only with Tifa is one's life fully and totally complete. And so as this New Year's Eve continues, I'd like to send a shout out to all of you out here and know what I know. For all of the loves one could ever have in a video game, there's one great one, and it's Tifa. Time out for Tifa. Thank you to Kevin McLeod for Intractable so I don't get muted. That's basically what I wanted to say. Oh, man. Look, you all know I'm right, okay? Tifa was amazing. What was great about it was the fact that, did you know, by the way, there's a scene in there. I'm going to spoil this one little part of the game. There is a scene where Tifa and Cloud finally get to kiss if you play your cards right, and you should. But did you know that they were originally not going to have them kiss, and finally, I forget who it was, overrode them, was like, no, the people are going to riot. You need to have them kiss. This has been like 30 years plus in the making. Let's go. It was absolutely great. Super, super great. What? Did I freeze? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Tifa was awesome. To go back to reality, though, I just really loved all of this. I loved all of the exploration. I love the chocobo types. We didn't even talk about that. Chocobo types, there was some chocobo racing that wasn't awful. It's just a brilliant, brilliant game. Now, I do worry a little bit because at the end of it, I love that I played it, but at the end of 130 hours, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to move on to something else. I am a little worried that the third game is going to have to carry a lot of weight and thus is going to be like a 250-hour behemoth. And there is a point where games sort of fall under their own weight, basically. So, no, but as I said, I love the characters. I love Barrett. One of my favorite sequences, Emily, was the whole Dine sequence with Barrett. I just didn't want to spoil things for people, but the Dine sequence, Barrett's best friend, oh my God, that was intense and like, oh, so great. And you even get Matt Mercer in there at a certain point. It's absolutely brilliant. No, I know you weren't dissing Barrett. I just didn't want you to think I was ignoring Barrett. I love Barrett. It was just so, yeah, Barrett was very much just like, well, why shouldn't I shoot him? It was great. Also, and on top of everything else, the library in Cosmo Canyon was also like, I'd like to move here. Can I please live in this place? Like, it just, I absolutely adored the game. And I think the only things that I could say are the slight drawback are that I think it slightly overstays its welcome, although that's really pushing it. I'm really having to nitpick. I mean, it was my game of the year for a reason. Like, it was right there. But it's just, brilliant. Brilliant. And I just don't know how Final Fantasy VII, whatever the last one they're going to call it, Final Fantasy VII Reunion or Return or whatever the hell they're going to call it. I don't know in the end what they're going to do. But, oh my goodness gracious, how great that game was. I adored it. So, to me, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was the definitive number one. I've had years in the past where I was close. This was not close. I love Forgotten Realms, don't get me wrong. But and you all called it, because I think I finished playing that in September or something, August or September, early September. And you all were like, this is already your game of the year. I think Hilness like, this is already your game of the year. I'm like, maybe. Yeah, I mean, yes, it would have had to be a hell of a game. But I mean, if you think about it, the games that I played in the latter part of the year, like Forgotten Realms, I played after that, and that was 2 and 3 on my list. Dark Sun Shattered Lands, I played after that. That was 4 on my list. Beyond Shadowgate, Caves of Kood, I played those after. That was 5 and 6 on the list. So, a lot of those 6 games were games that I played more recently. But it was just so, again, and I knew it was a game that was so epic that everyone and their brother was going to play it. So it meant our numbers weren't great with viewer numbers during a lot of the latter part of that playthrough. And I knew that was going to happen, and I just had to, there's nothing I could do about it. Like, I had to play it because I love the first one so much. Final Fantasy VII ranks in my top 10 games of all time already. So I just absolutely adored it. 7 months. Yeah. I mean, it was a long time to play any game, but it was just too good. I had to do it. I really love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It was amazing. So, and I'm here to tell you that we will play the third game when it comes out, and I'm glad that that's not going to be for a few years. I'm looking forward to having a break and playing it, but I love Final Fantasy VII. So, your final game of the year list, don't go anywhere because we got some other things to chat about after this. 27 Kinseed, 26 Typer Shark Deluxe, 25 Unusual Findings. Also, don't forget the gains, Emily. Don't forget we had the battle with, what's his name? And the abs and all that. 24, Kathy Rain Director's Cut. 23rd, Ephemerid. That's right. A Musical Adventure. 22nd, Jusant. 21, Californium. Top 20, Jules, that's right. Top 20, Professor Layton, The Curious Village. That was off stream. 19, Age of Wonders 4. 18, Jagged Alliance 3. 17, Growing Up. 16, Dawncraft, which was off stream. 15, On Guard. 14 was a Highland Song, which basically is new. 13, Sovereign Syndicate was new this year. 12, Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. That was off stream. 11, Chance of Senar. 10, A Short Hike. 9, The Banner Saga 3. 8, Black Geyser Couriers of Darkness. 7, Songs of Conquest. That was new. 6, Caves of Kood. That was new. 5, Beyond Shadowgate. That was new. 4, Dark Sun Shattered Lands. 3, Forgotten Realms Unlimited Adventures The Realm. 2, Forgotten Realms Unlimited Adventures Curse the Fire Dragon. 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth new. 6 new games, 3 off-stream games, 27 games played total. Absolutely adored it. That is my game of the year, the coveted game of the year 2024 list. That is my list for this year. Now, any honorable mentions? No. Every game that I played, Tom, was ranked on that list. If I play, that was a role. I didn't count board games, but if I played a video game, any video game showed up on that list that I played in 2024. I ranked them all. And so, yeah. Even ones I didn't play on stream. There were a few. Obviously, I don't have time to play video games much when I'm not streaming, but I had a couple, so a few. You have Return to Moria on PS5 and Epic Games. Now, are there any games that showed up before we talk about channel stuff that happened in 2024, preview 2025? Anything that people want to chat about in terms of, did you have top games of the list that you played that I did not include on my list? What are some of the games that people had that you're like, this game was amazing and everyone needs to play it? Satisfactory. I don't think I know that one, Thorn. Helldivers 2. I do know that one. I have not. I've never even heard of Sea of Solitude. I've heard of Sea of Stars, which I did play the demo of, but I decided not to count that because I only played a little bit of the demo. But I probably will be giving Sea of Stars a shot next year. Satisfactory is a factory game. Oh. Unicorn Overlord is RPG like triangle strategy style, right? Nonstop. I did hear about that. Yes, Airborne Kingdoms is definitely going to get played at some point, Imaginary, if you keep nominating it. Fear not. It almost won last time. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Yep. Best emotional games. I don't think I've heard of Sea of Solitude, to be honest with you. It's an ogre battle-like. Oh, so it's like Ogre Tactics a little bit? Or Tactics Ogre, I guess I should say. I played a little bit of Tactics Ogre. Oh, did I play... Was that this year? I might have played Tactics Ogre this year, and I forgot that. That would have to be low on my list just because I don't remember it at all. I barely remember that. That doesn't count. I don't even know if I did. I think I may have played it this year, but I don't remember. Dragon's Dogma 2 is okay. All right. Favorite games are older. Well, no, I mean games that you played this year that were your favorite. I did not, Thorn. I've talked about this before. I feel really bad about it, but the problem is I love Baldur's Gate 1 and Baldur's Gate 2. Like those are maybe top 5 games of the year, top 5 games of my life, like top time games of all time for me. I don't love Larian as a company. They're a great company, but just I don't click with them. I don't like their writing. I don't like their humor. They featured Mind Flayers, which are my least favorite D&D creature of all time. I find them disgusting and gross. The trailer that was done for it, where you literally see someone being consumed from the inside, was horrifically disgusting. And I was like, why am I having to see this and have it traumatize me? I really bounced hard off of Baldur's Gate 3. And I maintain that Baldur's Gate 3 really is Divinity Original Sin 3. I guarantee it. And they just retrofitted it to start working on Baldur's Gate 3 when they got the license. I wish that Obsidian had gotten the license because I think Obsidian would have done a brilliant job on Baldur's Gate 3 and is more in line with the Baldur's Gate mode than something like Larian. Having said that, I know many, many people who adored it. I know many people who think it's the greatest game of all recorded time. People should be able to love what they love, and that's great. I just bounce. I bounced right off of it, and I felt bad because I love Baldur's Gate, and I would love to play more of it, but no, I'm sadly, it was just not for me. Too many things that were about that. That's interesting, Fane. That's interesting. Yeah, and nothing against the nomination, by the way, Wispy. Again, that's not in any way saying it's a bad game. It's just not. It's not my bag. I'm sorry to say. Hades 2. I mean, Hades 1 was okay, but I don't like roguelikes very much. That's why Caves of Kood is so surprising to me. But honestly, the way I'm playing it, Wander mode is not really roguelike anymore. So I guess that's why. Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. Yeah, I heard good things about that, actually. I did hear good things about that. I heard many good things about that. These are some good ones. There's a good list of games in here. I also did not play Dragon Age Veilguard. I might give that a try next year. I did play Dragon Age Inquisition on stream, and I like that. So I might play Veilguard next year. I've heard good things about it. Venba I've never heard of. Never heard of Venba. Do you like it, Prince Justin? Yeah, Inquisition's okay. What's up, MST? No, have not played Jotun. I have heard of that. Absolutely agree, Emily, for sure. Something can be good and just not good for you. I do think there are some things that are objectively bad, which I'm not going to talk about here because I don't care about talking about objectively bad things. I'd rather talk about objectively good things. But a lot of things are just based on, it's like I don't like horror. That's not any subjective comment on horror. There's great horror books. I just don't like horror. I don't want to read it. But that has nothing to do with it being bad at all. Yes, nonstop. I want to try the new Indiana Jones. I have seen a little bit of that being played. It looks really good. I agree. That is a game that I am definitely wanting to try. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, but the thing is, Dragon Spear, the whole game, like you're under the control of a tadpole that threatens to turn you into a mind flayer. So you can't really turn it off without turning off the whole game. Like, combat and controls are not your bag. Ah, okay. Yeah. Oh, totally. Yes, Joe Toon. I have heard of that. MST, do you know, there's another thing I heard of too, and you know what it is? Tifa. I've heard of Tifa, MST, and I think it's important that we talk about that. I have to bookmark this page so I can come back to this. Again and again and again. Wear Magneto's helmet. Oh, man. It's like a much more interesting Rickroll. I mean, I'm talking about in-game. In-game. All about Tifa. Absolutely. When I was younger and I first played Final Fantasy VII, I'm like, oh, maybe Aerith's okay. Really? That's got to be a hell of a mod, Dragon. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, one of the most underrated games 2024. That's a wow. Oh, maybe maybe you should nonstop. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I haven't heard of that, Thorn. Yeah, I was just gonna say that, Princess, and that sounds like a radical mod. I mean, if it does what it does, that's great, but I didn't know you were in the Navy, MST. MST, did you know that my father was in the Navy? He was in the Navy during the Korean War, actually, but he was on the wrong coast. He was on the West Coast, so he never got into the war. But he actually was a lieutenant junior grade in the Navy. But he got out. He actually lied about his age and enlisted early. And then he got out, after like one tour or whatever. Like I think he was like 23, 24 when he left. So, yeah. So I did not know him when he was in the Navy. I Am Future is pretty good. Well, it depends. I mean, like I have to say, like I say that, but Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria is a crafting game. But see that the reason that's so different is Lord of the Rings saves a lot for me. That helps a lot. Plus they're dwarves and I like dwarves. They're not my favorite species or race within Lord of the Rings, but I do like dwarves. And also the singing. The singing is so good. I love that. Oh, Lorelei's a bit like Talos Principle. Oh. Shani versus Triss forever. No, I generally agree with you, actually. I don't think, no, no, because Shani was the doctor. Triss is great, but I think Shani slightly outstrips it for me, personality-wise. Let's also remember that Shani didn't need to bewitch me into thinking I was something else, which is what Triss did. But I do like Triss. I think we've talked about that before, Dragon Spear. Dragon Spear and I sometimes feel like we had the same father because there are so many similarities. That we do not, but there are so many similarities between Dragon Spear's relationship with his father and the one I had with my father. So the list, I will read the list one more time just for you, Echo. The list is as follows. It was 27 Kinseed, 26 Typer Shark Deluxe, 25, Unusual Findings. 24, Kathy Rain Director's Cut. 23, Ephemerate, A Musical Adventure. 22, Jusant. 21, Californium. 20, Professor Layton and the Curious Village. I played that off stream. 19, Age of Wonders 4. 18, Jagged Alliance 3. 17, Growing Up. 16, Dawncraft off stream. 15, On Guard. 14, A Highland Song. 13, Sovereign Syndicate. 12, Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. Again, I played that off stream. 11, Chance of Senar. Oh, that's cool, Dragon Spear. Have you ever seen the Korean War Memorial, Dragon? 11, Chance of Senar. 10, A Short Hike. 9, The Banner Saga 3. 8, Black Geyser Couriers of Darkness. 7, Songs of Conquest. 6, Caves of Kood. 5, Beyond Shadowgate. 4, Dark Sun, Shattered Lands. 3, Forgotten Realms, Unlimited Adventures, The Realm. 2, Forgotten Realms, Unlimited Adventures, Curse the Fire Dragon. And number 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So that was my list. These are some good ones, everybody. I am excited to look at a few of these and look into them. I have not heard of them. What is the game that I'm not remembering? I played a little bit of it. I think I played it as one of the chat chosen games last year. It's a game where you are going through the underworld and you're like helping people find their final rest. And it's supposed to be very moving and very very like chill in a way, but very moving. And it came out recently. 6888. First, oh, no kidding, MST. Spiritfarer, that's it, Thorn. Yeah, Spiritfarer. That's what it's reminding me of a little bit, that Sea of Solitude recommendation. So cool stuff, folks. And again, if you want me to try any of these games, don't forget, game at the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Year. We do 12 of those a year. So every month, that's one of the reasons I have this number of games. I don't finish all of them. I finish a good number of them, but not all of them. But if you want me to try a game, make sure to nominate it, and it will often get played if it gets voted for. So, all right, I want to make a couple of comments before I wrap up, and then I will be back, of course, over on GOG.com's Twitch channel. You've done Kathy Rain already. I might come back to it. It's possible. That's in the realm of games I might come back to. Same thing with Unguard. So a few. Okay, so a couple of things to just note about this. First of all, I want to note something about 2024 and 2025 and then send out some thank yous and then do my little end of the year message. So first of all, actually, let me do the thank yous first. So I want to send a huge thank you out in 2024. First of all, to all of my players that played in my various tabletop campaigns. That includes those that were sort of like one-shots. That includes people who were part of the D&D Reviewers. That includes my regular campaigns, Expedition, Eberron. I want to thank the Shadow Crew playing with Shadowed Mage. I really had fun watching those. It's great that they have such a great chemistry together. Beowulf, of course, with Tari Tunes, By the Dice Roll that I do over on that channel. And I think I've mentioned the others already, Expedition, Eberron. I loved all of those, and I really want to thank the players for being such a big part of it. It was really, really cool. So thank you to everyone who made that happen. I want to thank everyone who contributed to and was part of the subathon, and especially those who subathon, people who gifted subs, people who cheered, people who supported the Patreon, all of the supporters. And I want to give us thanks to all of you because that really makes it possible for me to keep doing this. And I also wanted to thank and encourage everyone to spread the word and build their support. And I also wanted to thank everyone in particular who supported ARVCon again this year. We have now done 10 years of ARVCons. We've raised over $30,000 to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. We've raised over $5,000 to benefit Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. That is big, actual, tangible stuff that we've done, to say nothing for the inspiration that it's created for other people who have seen it and wanted to do other things as well. It's an incredible point of pride for me that our channel is now officially partnered with Damon Runyon, and we do this every year. It was amazing, so I want to thank everyone who participated in it, including the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Scientists, about whom you will see more, I hope, in the new year with Star Wars, but also those who contributed to it because it was really, really great. My pleasure, Emily. Well, thank you. It was a pleasure, and it was a pleasure to have everyone there for ARVCon, and I can't wait to see what ARVCon 2025 is going to look like in terms of we've got some cool things I'm already thinking about, so it's going to be great. And it was great. So thank you so much to everyone who was a part of that. I want to thank, of course, all of the moderators and the people. I want to include in that people who did work on overlays, people who did work as well. I'm going to separate out the people who did work in particular on scheduling and editing, but I want to thank everyone who did stuff with overlays and with mods, and I especially want to thank, in my video folks, I want to thank Mike, Peripheral Mike, Wholesome Horror Gaming, who did a lot of the video work, Chrono Wolf did a lot of the music on that as well. Obviously, Kilobyte, who did the original video that you see when I do my intros and outros here normally. But I also especially want to thank all the mods, especially the ones that are here right now. I want to thank Dragon Spear and Emily the Invincible and Hilness and Prince Justin and Triffity Metz. I want to thank Shadowed Mage. I want to thank Shatter Mage. I want to thank Coven of Lunera. I want to thank Yuto Tenshi, even Lego Freak, although I haven't seen Lego Freak all year, but still, all the mods who were a big part of what happened. I want to thank all of these folks. The moderators really are what make the channel. You are all what make the channel what it is, but they are the ones who manage to keep the channel moving in the right direction. They maintain a positive attitude, a positive flow. They're the ones who sort of chat with people when people come on board. They're the ones who also put in commands and things like that. There's a lot invested in a streamer having to do stuff, especially in my tabletop games where I'm trying to coordinate like 5 things at once. I generally do all my own production for my games. If I was not doing that, it might be a little easier, but I got a lot that I got to think about. So it really helps when the mods are in doing work, and they do so on a volunteer basis. So thank you to all of my amazing moderators. I really need to think about maybe doing a talisman game for just the moderators. We did that a few years ago. Maybe it's time that I see if I can get another one of those through, because boy, it just makes such a huge difference. And for any mod that I might have missed who hasn't been here for a little while, again, thank you so much, and all that stuff. So I got Lego to show up, but he's a bum. Yeah, I know. It's all good. So thank you to the moderators and the folks who did overlay work as well. I also especially would like to thank, I'm doing the channel stuff first. I want to thank especially as well Triffid, who has done such amazing stuff in terms of moderation, but also in terms of podcast editing and scheduling work, because Triffid has done such amazing work with that really, really helps me a lot. So thank you so much, Triffid. I'm really grateful for that help. And I've been really grateful as well to Shadowed Mage, who does all the work with Arcanaspot. And while I'm on that subject, let me spend a special shout out as well to Effect Life, who did, of course, a lot of the Arcanaspot later programming, and has done, sorry, not Arcanaspot, has done the ARVBot programming, because both of those bots have been very valuable and useful in this channel. So thank you to both of you for doing that. And of course to Netawin for putting together the original work on which was the inspiration for all that stuff. So thank you for that. And the last folks that I want to thank in terms of the channel is I want to thank all of you. Obviously, I want to thank the viewers. It's, the Rising Tides. That's another one. I know I kept missing one. The Rising Tides, of course, I want to thank as well, who is obviously also a dear friend. Mike Underwood as well. Turbo Tango, also a mod, but it's been a while since Mike's been on the channel because Mike's been so busy doing other stuff. But of course, much love and respect to him too. And definitely, of course, to Brandon, who's a good friend and is going to be doing amazing work on the game design for Gray Shade tabletop role-playing games. It's going to be great. Now, special thanks as well to the viewers, to all of you who subscribed, who gave enormous amounts of gift subs. Some of you overwhelming amounts of gift subs. But that also includes those of you who couldn't afford to do that, but were always there lurking, or were chatting, or were commenting, or any of those things. All of you made the channel and the community what it was, and I remain deeply proud of this community, deeply proud of everyone who made it what it is, from Tari Toons doing the Fighting Fantasy Game Book illustration streams, plus her Beowulf book. Tari is so awesome. To people on the channel side who did stuff like the Our Vocalists. That's also amazing. Carlos and Claire Hernandez, and Claire Cooney, CSE Cooney, doing some of the Infernal Salons. We did a few of those this year as well. They did amazing stuff. The folks who were part of my live streams that got to be eventually broadcast on this channel as well. But the viewers, whatever it was, made such a difference here in terms of the community feel. And that's going to be enormously important as we go forward. I did a recording of Gen GMs last night, which is the DMGM tip show that I do with Zach Clay. and I did a recording. We recorded our next long one last night. And I was saying in that one of the things that struck me is how much a theme that I've noticed in my games is this theme of community coming together, of people finding community. And I think this is important, finding individual expression within the common purpose represented within a community. A community is made up of individuals, right? And everyone brings their own individual energies to that community, but they all try to row in more or less the same direction. And in a difficult time for the world, and a difficult time where there's a lot of positives too, but a lot of negatives in the world that are going on, it really helps to have that sense of community and family that people can find here. And I'm so grateful that all of you have made that a possibility. It makes a huge difference. And that leads me to a couple of notes about 2024 that was and 2025 to come. Personally, I want to say that 2024 was a fairly good year, personally. It saw the publishing of the final book of my trilogy, the Grey Assassin trilogy, Heretic. I got to see an incredible review from Prince Justin for that, which is going to stay with me for a long time. It was beautifully edited and, of course, published through the editorial work of Emily the Invincible, and I will always be grateful to Emily for that. Emily is a wonderful editor, and you should hire her for all your editing needs ever. She was really great with those, and I was so grateful to Athos Hearts for publishing it, and I think it's good work that I'm proud of, and I'm so happy that it found expression. And in general, I felt good about my writing in 2024. Also had The Goblin's Locket. I was proud of that short story, and I'm very excited for what 2025 is going to bring. A couple of secret projects I can't talk about that are there, and I'm super, super pumped up for what I'm going to be able to share about those, I hope so, hopefully soon. So it was a pretty good year for me personally on that front. It was also a good year for me personally in terms of work with family. The experience of getting to watch my two children on stage together in A Christmas Carol is something I will never forget. It was an absolute privilege to get to see that. They got the last word. They literally got the last lines, and that was just my heart. Amazing. So that was spectacular. And of course, the trip to England and Scotland. Haha, you thought I forgot it. The trip to the United Kingdom is maybe the best trip I've ever had. It was spectacular. Worldcon and getting to meet so many colleagues and friends, including Emily the Invincible, including Prince Justin and others at Worldcon in Glasgow, getting to be on panels there, then and coming with my family to Scotland, which was amazing too. Getting then to travel down to Oxford, one of my new favorite places of all time. Getting to experience Oxford the way that I did, then going over to London, getting to meet my dear friends from By the Dice Roll, and getting to actually play D&D with them live in person in front of an audience, in front of other dear friends and family there, was just absolutely overflowingly wonderful. I will never forget it. And it honestly meant that my fall semester was a pretty good semester. Part of that is that my students were pretty good, I thought, for the most part, but also it was just, I was just on the high, man. I was on the high of that trip. I was absolutely wonderful. So it was a great, in that way, that part of it was just great. There were some health challenges. There were some difficulties as well. There were some struggles individually that I definitely have had to work through, and I'm still working through. But on the whole, I think 2024 was personally a pretty good year. And 2025, I'm very excited for, as I said, because of the writing side, because of other family stuff. I'm excited that my lights are on. I put them up myself with my family. We didn't have to hire anyone. Super excited about those lights. You don't understand. I felt very DIY today. It was great. So that was great. So I'm very excited for what 2025 will bring with the house, with the family. Next semester is going to be amazing. I've got the event going on with Brandon and Marie and with Brian. That's being held at my university. Super excited about that. I've got 2 cons that I'm going to in February. I've got more cons that I'm going to be going to once we get to like May, June. And then we've got ReaderCon in July. We've got Worldcon in August. We've got Gen Con again. I just, all of that stuff. And then CanCon, it's going to be great. So I'm excited for everything, not to mention all the amazing stuff. The Return of the King. Yes, the Return of the King concert. It's going to be super, super awesome. I'm so excited for that. And I'm glad, Imaginary Exponent, that you feel that way. It's my pleasure. You folks make it what it is. I'm turning into a con artist. Indeed, Fabio, you were right. But it was so, so great. Rob is going to be there. Rob said he was going to be there. Yeah, he's going to be part of it. He's going to be in the choir again. So just absolutely wonderful. 2025 that I'm looking forward to, especially the first, really all the way through until the fall semester. I don't know what fall semester is going to look like. It may be very good, but a lot of fingers crossed things about projects and stuff, but they knock on wood, it looks good. So personally looking forward to 2025. It was a very good 2024, not unmitigated. There were some issues that I had to deal with and still dealing with, but for the most part, it was a good 2024. So that leads me to last of all, the world. 2024 was a difficult year for the world. It was a difficult year for the people in Ukraine. It was a difficult year for the people in America who were trying to vote against fascism and were unsuccessful in doing so. It is to be hoped that we will be able to hold back the worst excesses of fascism. I am not one of those who believes that we will never have another election again. I don't think that's true. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was an awful result for America and for the world. And there are a lot of people who were devastated by it. It was not a good year for members of the trans community who became the new boogeymen for everyone and everything because you always attack the marginalized communities first because it's a lot easier to do that than to sort of face up to your own problems. And there were numerous examples of things like that. We lost really important people. Jimmy Carter, who I always admired personally. James Earl Jones, who obviously is... what a wonderful actor. And numerous other examples of people like this, too many to mention, that sadly have left us now, at least left this plane of existence anyway. That was difficult. It was difficult for the world. It was difficult for us. But I also want to note something on the macro level and then come into the micro level. We did something else very special, though. Did you know that there is a vaccine now that essentially, and I'm not making this up, cures the HIV virus? It prevents all transmission. That is an astonishing achievement for the world. I grew up at a time in which many millions of people died from that disease. Knew personal friends of my mother who passed away as a result of AIDS and HIV. But we have a vaccine now that has ended it. Now, making sure that it is able to be distributed equitably, that it is not going to be price gouged, that's a challenge that we'll have to face. But I cannot emphasize enough, finding a vaccine to end the scourge of HIV is a game changer on a level that I cannot describe. And that ought to prove to us that there are good things that we can accomplish in the world. And I'm sorry, folks, that's an unmitigated good. That is just good. And that's an example of good things that happened in 2024 as well. Ukraine was under threat, but as Imaginary Exponent will tell you, Ukraine survived. It's still there. We are still here. We are still part of this community. There was pushback. There was resistance. There was success. We had multiple things that we did, communities that came together, good people that were elected, good policies that were enacted. In America, the Social Security Fairness Act that was enacted to bring Social Security benefits to veterans that they've been trying to get done for decades, and they finally got it done. A huge advancement in green technology, huge advancements in medical and technological achievements, huge advancements even in the potential for controlling aspects of climate change. 2024 was bad for the advancement of climate change, but it was also good for the possible ways that we might be able to mitigate some of the worst effects of climate change. What's the point of all this? It's to say that as we look forward to 2025, lots of people do New Year's resolutions, and those are cool too. But here's my resolution: to continue to remember that we are made up of both the small and the big picture. That on the big picture level, we need to remember that there is a lot of good in the world that goes along with a lot of the not so good in the world. That's the big picture. And it's easy to get lost in the bad. It's easy to get lost in this was awful and a disaster. And I'm not asking you to ignore those things. I'm asking you to remember that they are not the only parts of the story. Because the only way we can fight the not so bad is to remember that we also exist as part of the good. And that too is part of what we need to think about going forward in 2025. And that brings me to the other level, because the watchword on this channel for years has been community, compassion, and communication. And I try to make an effort to model those things to the extent I can. I try to model compassion and community and communication with everybody. And I'm not perfect at it, I'm sure, but I do the best I can. And one of the things I love is that this community is filled with those things also. It is my overwhelming belief, I am more sure of it than I am about anything else in my life. I am 100% sure that the way forward to solve these problems is in the building of compassionate communities that communicate with each other. And the more that we do that, and the more we expand those communities, grow those communities, merge and increase the size of those communities, the better things will be for the world. Yeah, that's right. I saw that, Dragon. So I cannot emphasize enough to all of you that for everyone who has been through hurt, through pain, but who also came through success and triumph, whether your 2024 was a great year or an awful year or an in-between year, I am glad that you're here still. I'm glad that you're with us going into, hey Kaz, I'm glad that you're with us going into 2025. And I want to encourage you to reach out again to members of this community and members of your own communities offline, your local neighborhoods, your family, your friends, and to build those so that you can develop those communities and expand them to people that you don't know as well, but you might like to know better, to people that ask you, hey, I'm thinking about maybe this. Do you know anyone I could reach out to help me? You could be that person. To think about other ways that you can build and develop those communities with each other. Because I know, having seen it in this very place with the Arvanauts over now 12 plus years of streaming, that when you develop communities with compassion and teach them to communicate with each other, one can accomplish quite literally miracles. And that HIV vaccine that I mentioned is one example of many. It is miraculous that we are with each other together in compassionate connection. And that is something which I encourage for everyone going forward as we go on. And so it is in that spirit of deep love and care that I extend full thanks and gratitude to all of you for having been with me on this journey, whether it's been a week, a month, a decade or more, and to say that I can't wait for what I think is going to be a great 2025 going forward. I'm going to be over on GOGCOM's Twitch channel in about an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to be playing the last stream of the year, which will be Songs of Conquest. I will also be back here Thursday night for the big interview with Christian Mosley and more Beyond Shadowgate. After Beyond Shadowgate, by the way, I am playing Caves of Kood next, in case you're curious about what is on the docket. So that's what we've got down the line. But I'm so grateful to all of you for what was a wonderful 2024 on this channel, and to encourage you to hang in there, regardless of what you're dealing with, and to thank you all for being with each other and being with me on this journey. Thank you much to all of you. Thank you to everyone, and in that spirit, please make sure to follow the channel. Check out my YouTube with !ArvTube. Thank you for the tier 2 sub. Thank you so much, Echo. Here's to a much better 2025. From all of Norway to everyone here, happy holidays and upcoming New Year's. Hugs from this Viking. Thank you also to Echo Alpha for all the snow pictures. I'm grateful for that too, so thank you, Echo. Please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube, and if you've been over on YouTube, and I know several of you have, thank you, !ArvTube there. Please subscribe to me over there. It's free to do that, but it really helps us out. Discord, !ArvCord. Oh, you've got more? Took more today, nice. ArvCord. That's the Discord. You can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams, which we now have a notification bot working, so I'm happy about that. Twitter, !Arv tweets. Blue Sky, !Arv Sky. Website, arvaneleron.com. Again, !Arv talk as well. Financially, !Arv Treon. That's that Patreon. That's really the financial backbone of the channel. Please support us there. We're trying to get back into triple digits. Also, please sub to us, as several of you were kind enough to do today. That gives you custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. On the publishing side, Icarus for my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library, my Tales and Tomes, The Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And Greyshade is my Greyshade IP. That is Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic, my Grey Assassin trilogy brought to you by the amazing Athos Arts. And of course, Greyshade, you can also get the audiobook of Greyshade at that link by our very own Trent Sparks. And you can pre-order the tabletop role-playing game because, as Prince Justin says, pre-orders are love, pre-orders are life. You can get that over on that link as well. You can pre-order that, the tabletop role-playing game of Grey Shade coming from Brandon O'Brien and Alligator Alley Entertainment. And last but certainly not least, oh, you took it only 2 hours ago? Hold on a second. Wow, nice. Oh, that last one's a really good one too. I mean, they're all good, but that's amazing, Echo. Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's really cool. Yes, I know. I'll have to do that. Right now he's playing with a marble race setup. So, so where was I? Oh, yes, as always, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter. Yes, remember, all orders from Athos Art's website come with a Good Luck 2025 original drawing from Emily only through today. So go over to Athos and get our stuff because it really helps us out. If you are a member of SIFWA, make sure to also nominate us for Nebulas, please and thank you. And vote for us and get stuff. More Gray Shades, exactly. Kid kids losing marbles, hopefully not. But again, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage. And send the message will do so for others in the future as well. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Dragonspear, Emily the Invincible, Hillness, Prince Justin, Triffity Mats, again, the best mods in the business. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and subscribers. Dragon, Emily, Hillness, Prince Justin, Triffid, Echo Alpha, Wispy Song, Critwitch, Imaginary Exponent, MST3K, Tom. Thank you so much to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Basic Panther. Thank you to Baron Valor. Thank you to Fanes Abavka. Thank you to Jagtris. Thank you to Jasper Kazai, Kunki Ganario. Thank you to Thorn. Thank you to Extra Dead. And thank you to those watching me over on YouTube as well. Thanks to everybody. Happiest of New Year's, everyone. I'm going to see you over at GOGCOM in a little bit, but otherwise, Happy New Year. Best wishes for a wonderful 2025. I saw that. I was very happy about chat going on YouTube today. That was great. So please spread the word, get more people into this community, and please take a lot of love for all of yourselves. Have a happy and safe New Year, everybody. Much, much, much love from all of me to all of you. Please remember, there are people who love you in the world, and not everything is dark. There is, as Jen Brozek said earlier on, it's always darkest before the dawn. That is true. I look forward to more and ever-lengthening light as we move into 2025. And in that spirit, thank you so much, everyone. It's been a great pleasure. And I'll see you all soon. Bye for now, all. Honk.